good morning, everybody, and welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends. Thanks, Chorus. Oh, they do such a wonderful job. I love them. This is indeed Breakfast with Roger and Friends, and it's a beautiful Wednesday morning, the 14th of January, hard to believe. And we say good morning to Teri Chamberlain. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning.
Good to see you this morning. I know Tyrus is here. He was the first, as I took roll, to say present.
That's right.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roger.
I think Dave is on the way up. I think our cameras in the parking lot detected movement from Mr. David, for that matter. We've got a cornucopia of weather this morning. Scattered snow flurries, some snow showers, and at one time they were talking about 1 to 3 inches of snow. Now they're talking about an inch, and so we'll probably get 6 feet. You know, this Midwestern weather is something to behold and to be detested at times.
Yes.
You know, I don't mind snow in November. I don't mind it in December. As a matter of fact, I like to see it on the ground so Santa can make his way to my roof. But January, you know, that's a different story. And then our exclusive weather coverage with live reports from the one and only, what is the guy's name? Kyle.
You're thinking of Kyle?
Kyle. Kent Varno. At any rate, he did predict, did he not, 1 to 2 inches this week? I believe he did. So we will see. Normally, if he makes a prediction, and as the weather, you know, it changes almost minute to minute in the Midwest, he will normally call me and say, I want to come on tomorrow, so I can let people know conditions are different, for that matter. And I haven't heard from him, so I'm wondering if he's sticking to the 1 to 2 inches forecast.
I don't know, but he told me it might be cold, but it'd be dry tomorrow, so I'm going to hold him to that.
Okay.
Now you're going to move in tomorrow night.
But I thought, good morning, Dave.
Well, good morning.
But I thought that he had a prediction of 1 to 2 inches. I can't remember.
Maybe
I thought it was today.
Night. No, I
But
won't know.
that doesn't start until tomorrow night. Let's see.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, snow may be 1 inch.
Right.
Is what the nice weather
Dusting,
is.
as it were.
Yes.
You think a dusting?
Well,
Well,
dusting.
yeah. We had some snow that collected on our yards, but did not collect
On
on
Saturday.
the streets. Yes.
Yeah.
Which made it
yeah.
nice.
And it can do that again. I don't care.
That's right. As long as it stays off the
As
road.
long as-
stay off the roads.
and the parking lots
And the parking
and
lot.
the sidewalks this morning. You know, Terry, particularly applies, I think, to two of us more so. But another incident this morning, a driving incident, where I came up the ramp from I-74 to Sterling, sat very patiently, and the light changed. Now, years ago, maybe not that long ago, I would, just as soon as I had the light, I would pull out. But you know, there's a little bit of a blind spot there.
Yes, there is.
And this morning, I got the green light, and before I went out, I turned and looked, and a guy flew through the intersection, blatantly ran the red light.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's one thing to run the red light when you're doing 15 or 20 miles an hour, but when you're doing 55 miles an hour, and this is the argument I have against Police Chief Eric Echeverria, there is absolutely no traffic control or enforcement in the city at all. It's zero, Z-E-R-O, ought, O-U-G-H-T. I don't know whether that's right or not.
Ought to enforce them. Right?
Yeah. There's no enforcement whatsoever. People blatantly run red lights all the time. And I thought, you finally use good judgment before you enter an intersection. Look, in this case, one way, because the roadway is one way in the direction. And it happens every now and then. Guys think because it's 5:30 in the morning, there's no law enforcement. Hey, pal, there's none at 5:30 in the afternoon either in the city of
Seeing
Peoria.
more and more run red lights.
Oh, all the time,
All
yeah.
around town, yeah.
Yellow means speed up, and red means fly through the
Fly
intersection.
through.
Yeah. I thought the other day when I saw people running red lights and not running lights, just running through intersections, there should be a law that you can't enter an intersection doing more than 35 miles an hour. because there's no reason to speed through an intersection.
Yeah.
For one thing, many intersections, even at University and War Drive, have pedestrians crossing. Remember years ago when the Chevrolet dealer was on one
My
corner?
Jim McComb was on the corner.
McComb
Yep.
Chevrolet.
Manning Macomb. Yep.
Yeah, and they would have their lot across the street, and you would see salesmen all the time crossing the intersection.
It's like
Now, if
playing
it-
Frogger, the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an argument for a pedestrian bridge, if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
Did they take the one down at Reservoir School, or is it
Yes.
still there?
Yeah, it's been
Oh,
going
yeah.
for a long
Took
time.
it.
Yeah, when I was principal there, we wish we had it there.
Really, you were principal at Reservoir?
I was Washington Gifted / Reservoir Academy. Yep, I was principal there.
Initially, it was a K through 8 school.
It was so Reservoir
in the very beginning as a
it
Reservoir.
was, exactly, and then the Washington program moved there in 1980 from the Moss Avenue School and was there all the way through. Well, it still is. It just was renamed in 2020, I guess, or whatever.
You know, District 150 has had a problem for years, and the city has gotten away from them and avoided bringing it up. But they would vacate a school, and it just sits there,
Yeah.
and it becomes an eyesore in the neighborhood,
Right.
an eyesore in the city. And I give you a good example, my grade school, which I drove by it earlier this week with fond memories. Kingman Grade School.
Oh, sure.
It's still there, still empty, has no value whatsoever. And the same holds true of Washington. Washington, what used to be Washington
on
School.
Moss Avenue.
On Moss
Yeah,
Avenue.
yeah.
It sits there empty.
Yeah, I think it's actually up to a few years ago. It was a Hindu or
Neighborhood
Buddhist,
center or something?
Yeah, a Hindu or Buddhist temple or center.
Well,
of
that's
some sort.
okay
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
being used.
Yeah, it's being used.
But if it isn't being used, tear it down and reach into your budget. But that's
Tear
for
down
other
this
people.
wall.
Yeah. Tear down this school.
That's right.
That's what Ronald Reagan said,
that's right.
for that matter. Well, let's get into the news. And actually, we'll start with the weather. A service of Mr. Weather, Kyle Varnold. He's an insurance pro, as you know, and he can take a look at your portfolio of insurance coverage in an effort to find some money, save some money for you. And you can reach Kyle a little later on this morning at 682-0519. And what's the weather look like, Mr.
Well,
Dave?
today we have a portfolio of weather coming up.
Good.
It'll
Hey,
be
that was
sunny
great.
with a
Yeah.
chance of snow flurries. Cloudy this morning, with then some gradual clearing. Guess what? As warm as it gets, it's probably this morning because that temperature will be dropping to around 23 degrees by 5 p.m. this afternoon. It's going to feel a lot colder thanks to those strong and blustery winds clocking up to 34 miles an hour by evening. So put those vests and coats on as you head out today. Tonight, clear but windy and a low of 14. Burr chilly. Tomorrow, sunny and 28. Tomorrow night, some snow. Now, how much, we're not sure, but perhaps up to an inch. A dusting, low of 23. Friday, cloudy and windy, high of 37. And then Saturday, that cold front really comes in. That secondary cold front they're talking about comes in and brings us a high of 17 after a Friday night low of 14. Get ready for a chilly weekend ahead. Currently, we're holding at 36 degrees. And now on to the news.
And the news this morning brought to you by Spoon River Home Health. They've been around helping people since 1993 with home health care by nurses, therapists, and home care assistants. They're available 24/7. Here's the phone number, 309-245-0723. Now the news, Terry.
Well, the Supreme Court yesterday heard pro and con arguments of male athletes seeking to compete as females. Two cases are before the High Court. After about 3 hours of competing opinions from attorneys on both sides of the question, their justices retired. A decision expected anywhere from late this month to June of this year. Some were speculating the vote will support banning women from male sports, with the 3 liberal judges opposing the ban. We'll talk exclusively this morning with period attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 about this matter and probably others.
All right, turning to world news. The chaos continues in Iran, and it's getting deadly for protesters. Some news outlets are reporting that up to 3,000 people have been killed by Iranian police and the military. Thousands more injured as President Trump exclaims help is on the way. He did not provide any details. Meanwhile, Iran has almost total communication blackout with orders from top government officials to police shoot to kill, and so they are.
A Secret Service agent has been suspended after he allegedly leaked security information regarding the travel and schedule of Vice President J.D. Vance. Officials said the agency will not tolerate any member of the agency engaging in any behavior that could potentially compromise the safety and welfare of people they're protecting.
And a radio announcer at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell has been dismissed after he said J.D. Vance should be shot and killed. Surprisingly, no charges have been filed against the unnamed person, probably because of low ratings. There we go.
The House of Representatives voted 226 to 197 to reverse regulations implemented under President Biden regarding the type of shower heads consumers are permitted to use in their homes. 17 Democrats bolted from their party to join Republicans, who said regulating shower heads was regulatory overreach.
In local news, Peoria firefighters quickly put out a fire at a two-story home in the 2300 block of West Millman yesterday afternoon. The fire, which started in the kitchen, caused about $10,000 in damage. 2 people got out safely, but 1 was treated for smoke inhalation.
In court action, 32-year-old Chris Crawford has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of selling controlled substances. And 20-year-old Cortez Cagle has been indicted by a grand jury for armed robbery. He is accused of robbing a 17-year-old last September in the 1600 block of Great Oak Road near Sterling Avenue and Farmington Road.
We have an update on the story reported exclusively on Monday this week. Services will be held this Friday at noon at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church for former Peoria Councilman George Jacob. The 61-year-old Jacob died Sunday at his home. He had served as president and owner of Brewers Distributing, representing the Anheuser-Busch Company. And that is the news.
All right, and your best source for morning news continues with a report from WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. The Peoria Fire Department is getting more than $3 million in federal grant funding to increase its staffing levels and improve emergency response. Fire Chief Sean Sahlberger says the department learned in August its application for a SAFER grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency was approved for the award.
Essentially, it's going to give us the ability to hire 11 more firefighters and have 4-person truck companies. So every single day there will be at least 60 firefighters working every day.
Sahlberger says the additional staffing will bring the department's total number of firefighters to more than 180. Town halls, special city council meetings, and political events, and what each requires legally, are the subjects of a town hall policy under consideration by the Pekin City Council. Under the policy, no more than 6 town halls can be held annually. Pekin Economic Development Director Josh Ray tells the council that a goal of the policy is to avoid excess meetings.
There's no rush on this. It's just a thought, because we do want to have more public engagement. We do want to present more information to the public, be more transparent, but we don't want to have a meeting every other week.
The policy presented during this week's council meeting was written after a flurry of town halls and a Q&A session were held late last year. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul is filing a federal lawsuit with the city of Chicago against Border Patrol and ICE for what he calls their dangerous tactics during last fall's deportation campaign.
Agents have arrested hundreds of Illinoisans without warrants, randomly questioned hundreds more, and unleashed chemical weapons upon law-abiding and peaceful residents.
The Attorney General wants federal agents to stay away from sensitive locations like hospitals and drive in vehicles with visible plates. And early numbers show a slight drop in health insurance enrollment in Illinois through the Affordable Care Act this year compared to a record-breaking year in 2025. The state has experienced a 4% decline in enrollment so far, which is not as severe as expected. The slight drop comes after tax subsidies that made ACA insurance more affordable ended on December 31st, and as Congress considers whether there is a path to extend the subsidies. I'm Courtney Conroy, WCBU News.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Sports. Tyrus is here. And Tyrus, what do you have for our sports fans?
All right, thank you, Roger. Let's start with some Bradley basketball there. 13-6 after winning an exciting overtime game versus Evansville, 94-90.
That was exciting. On the road again, Willie Nelson.
That was good. Next game is Saturday at 1 p.m. versus Illinois State University. It is also an away game. Bradley girls basketball are 10-6 after beating Indiana State 79-74. The next game is Friday versus Drake. It is also an away game. Other news, Illinois basketball, they are 13-3 after beating Iowa 75-69. Their next game is tonight against Northwestern, 7:30 p.m.
You know, Illinois always struggles against Northwestern. Throw the records away,
Yeah.
particularly in Evanston. So this will be a big test for the Fighting Illini.
Sure will.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
So we'll see what happens there tonight. Maybe they can pull it off. Maybe they won't. We'll just see. College football playoffs. Miami plays Indiana for the national championship Monday, January 19th at 6:30 p.m.
I want to thank you for not rubbing it in because I owe you 2 meals.
I was waiting.
And
You were waiting for
I
that?
probably shouldn't brought it up because you didn't know this. There's a statute of limitation that if you don't bring it up within 48 hours, it's null and void. I don't know if you knew that or not. No, I owe you breakfast. I owe you lunch. I'm glad I didn't bet for dinner.
That's all right.
No, it isn't.
And then NFL news, the Bears, after completing one of the best playoff comebacks in NFL history, move on to this Sunday at 5:30 p.m. against the Rams in the divisional round. Also should be one of the coldest games, too. So, see what happens there. See how the Rams play. I don't know. But there's also a stat that Sean McVay has not won in Chicago yet. So we'll see. And then the rest of the NFL playoffs. Bills versus Broncos, first game Saturday at 3:30. Then Saturday night is the Seahawks and 49ers. That'll be at 7. And then on Sunday, Texans and Patriots play at 2. And then those Rams and Bears at 5:30.
All right, what's your prediction on the Rams and the Bears? I'm going to try to get my money back.
I'm going to go with my Bears.
Well, I can't go against the Bears
Yeah.
on this game.
Yeah.
The Bears should beat the Rams. And I wish they would do something about Caleb Williams. I think he dozes off in the first half. I think he's sleeping on the bench and they wake him up and so forth because even in the third quarter, he still looks lousy. And then for some reason, I don't know, did they give him a shot of cortisone or something in the quarters because he wakes up and becomes suddenly the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, I know.
Amazing.
Yeah, well,
amazing.
we like to hibernate, and then we just
Yeah, I think you're right.
wake up. Yeah, we just wake up out of a slumber, and then the Iceman or Superman comes out. Those are
Yeah,
a
I
couple of
think
his
you're right.
nicknames. So
Well, he is super. I wouldn't say super, but for some reason or another, he doesn't come alive. His passes are short, overthrows.
or we have drops or
Well,
something like
that's
that.
true. That contributes.
It also I don't know what it is, but I think it'll get better.
Yeah.
Those are just because he does the incredible things, just out of this world.
I think the weather should favor the Bears because
should.
we're playing a team that typically plays in sunshine and warm.
Inside, yep.
And the Bears are used to playing at Soldier Field, so anything can happen. And I think isn't
Anything
the weather
can
supposed to
happen.
be not only cold, but maybe some flurries in the air?
Mm-hmm.
So we will see. So go Chicago Bears.
Go Bears. And then Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers have, I'm going to say, mutually parted ways, too.
He actually, I think, told his players after the game they lost that he was quitting. Did he not? Because I think some of the Bear players said they were shocked to hear that coming from him.
Yeah.
I think he saw the handwriting on the wall, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, and he also just refused to lose. He never had a losing season with the Steelers at all. So, and maybe it's just they got to move on and try something different. So we'll see what he does. They still have his rights to keep him, so he might have to do TV for a while, maybe, and then come back into coaching.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. And then NHL news: the Blackhawks, who are 19, 20, and 7, play the Flames tomorrow at 7:30, and they're now looking to get back on track after losing 2 in a row. They've been sick, and then a bunch of injuries, and
That's the bottom line. They're not very good.
yeah, it's been tough, you know.
Whatever the reason are, they stink.
Yeah. So
They're like the Bulls. Win
Yeah.
a few, lose a bunch. Win a few, lose a bunch.
yeah, I mean, they just had a good game, like against
Well, whoopee. Against
It
the
was,
Rivermen? What, did they beat the Rivermen?
Well, it was Connor Bedard's second game back after being hurt, and then after that, now he's been sick. So he got the bug from that the whole team had. So, and a lot of
Well,
other,
when did
lot of
that
other
start?
guys.
I think that started 2 years ago, didn't it?
And then the St. Louis Blues beat the Carolina Hurricane.
They're not much better.
Last night, they had 3-0. So they got a shutout, so that's good. But yeah, they're in the same boat pretty much.
That's sinking.
Yeah.
Throw them a life raft, or at
Sinking
least a
boat.
lifesaver.
Or get a buoy out there. I don't know. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are 18 and 21 after losing last night to the Rockets, 113 to 119.
And
Despite
the Bradley's the only team that we can root for that won last night.
that's true. Or Illinois, or
Well, yeah, Illinois.
yeah, one of those two, pretty much.
I will tell you this. I have a son and his wife who live in Champaign, and my son has taught while he was working on his PhD degree at Illinois. So I used to visit them, my wife and I, frequently and watch their sports. Do you know at WCIA in Champaign, they never mention Bradley University.
Really?
Never.
Really?
And here we fall all over ourselves talking about the University of Illinois.
Yep.
Go Bradley.
Go Bradley.
You know, there was a time every now and then they would play Bradley, they being Illinois. And they decided that they
cool.
gain nothing by playing against Bradley, and they run the risk of losing, which they have on more than one occasion. So they will not play Illinois. They will not play typically Illinois State either.
That'd
They
be
will
cool if they
play
did that
Eastern
again.
Illinois on occasion, and I don't remember them ever playing against Western. But I understand they don't want to lose to state schools.
No.
It's been relatively recent they played Bradley, didn't they? I don't know how long ago it was they did play Bradley. Maybe it's been
Yeah.
about 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
So
Yeah, I remember.
remember
I think it
before
was Bill Self. I could be wrong. No, I'm trying to think. Who was Bruce Weber, who
Weber.
coached at Southern Illinois, agreed to play
Yeah.
Bradley.
Yeah.
And I think they did beat Bradley in the last time they played. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
We'll Google it.
Oh, we'll
Anyway,
Google
we
it.
keep interrupting.
No, you're fine.
Doing
It's all good.
sports and stop interrupting, Dave.
I know. We're adding to you. Gee, I wonder who's done that.
I
Voice.
don't know. It's all right.
Sorry, Tyrus.
No, you're all good. 113 to 119. The Bulls lost to the Rockets despite Trey Jones having a career high in points, 34 on a very efficient 11 for 12. So he missed one shot. It was a 3, went like 5 of 6 from 3.
All right.
They play tonight at home versus the Utah Jazz at 7 p.m. So it's going to be an interesting game. And then MLB news: the Cardinals have traded Nolan Arenado and $31 million to the Arizona Diamondbacks for a right-handed pitching prospect, Jack Martinez, who was an 8th-round pick last year.
I think Arenado's been unhappy in St. Louis.
Yeah, he's been on like a decline, and
Well, the last 2 years he's been mentioned as a possible trade.
yeah,
He was unhappy when he was at the Rockies, and then he came to
Yes,
St. Louis,
you're
so
right.
He's not been very
I
happy.
think he's just
He just gets unhappy, yeah.
I think
Everybody gets unhappy at one time or another.
yeah. I mean, He didn't really act like how it was with the Rockies,
Right,
but I
right.
think it was just because he's been on a decline. He's getting older, and
Wait a minute, you just described me.
Yeah. You're talking about
Are
Dave
you talking about me?
or Roger.
Yeah,
so
Young whippersnapper.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
he's just getting older, and the Cardinals are going in a different direction. They're trying to just get
They're
younger
going
and,
down.
and rebuild,
Yep.
and I think he's got a chance at picking it back up with the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks.
Well, he'll be happier in a warm state.
Oh yeah, and they should be winning more, and I think the warm would help them too.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of like how Tom Brady picked Tampa with his last couple years and won
Sure, why
last
not? I
one of
understand.
his last Super Bowls.
And it'll be-
Warmer weather helps.
Put some
older,
heat on the joints and you get better, right? It's-
Exactly.
However, I will tell you, my
It's
friend,
true.
I served on the Central Illinois chapter of arthritis, or a couple of local organizations, and many people, and heard from rheumatologists and people who specialize in arthritis, many people have moved to Arizona thinking that their arthritis would get better, and it didn't.
It didn't.
Did
No,
not.
no. So maybe some people psychosomatically got better, but when it comes to arthritis, it's not unusual whether you live in California, Arizona, or Michigan. You'll hear them say as you get older, "I'm arthritis. May I sit in?" Hey, they're on the road again, the Bradley Braves.
All right.
I just love this song by Coach Willie Nelson of the Bradley Braves. He's still singing this. And what is he, 92, 91, something like that.
I can't wait to get on the road again.
Didn't he make an appearance at that Summerfest in Chillicothe? Was it last year? I think.
It's been a few years.
Yeah. And the man is an amazing guy. I wonder if he is takes something.
Oh, he takes something.
Yeah. I mean,
Well preserved.
yeah, well preserved.
Medicinal purposes only.
And our way is on the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road
Did
again.
you find out how old he was?
He'll be
He's
93 in April.
he's 92 and still performing. Good for him.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of good music, you learned that WOAM, the sale, has been finalized, and a guy that owns WBYS in Canton. I'm trying to think if that's the call
It used to
letter.
be WBYS, is it
Yeah.
still?
Yes. Has bought it for $65,000. You talk about a cheap buy, but it's had a lot of infrastructure problems. I'm telling you, it'll take a lot of money to build up its signal, but it'll be interesting. They say a change in music
Yeah,
format.
I just got the tail end
what
of an
that
announcement they
means.
were making yesterday. I'm hoping that as I listen today, this afternoon, that he'll repeat it. But they were thanking their loyal listeners for all the years of listening to them, and he said they are going to change the format, but he didn't say to what.
Well, I think you could probably listen to the Canton radio station and get an idea of what the format is. I don't think they will change from what they're doing at the Canton radio station. The guy that bought it, one of the main owners of WOAM, is based in Indiana, as a matter of fact. So it will be interesting to see what they do at WOAM. In the meantime, it'll be interesting to get an update of our news at the bottom of the hour. And then we have our Wednesday morning quiz. So put on your thinking caps, boys and girls. And we'll start by telling you our news with Teri Chamberlain, brought to you by Advanced Medical Transport of Central Illinois. They serve 65 communities with 54,000 emergency calls a year. That's why we say very fondly when seconds count. Count on advanced medical transport of Central Illinois. With the news, here's Terry Chamberlain.
The Supreme Court has heard pro and con arguments of male athletes seeking to compete as females. 2 cases are before the High Court. After about 3 hours of competing opinions from attorneys on both sides of the question, the justices retired. A decision is expected anywhere from late this month to June. Some legal experts believe the vote will support banning women from male sports, with the 3 liberal judges opposing the ban. We'll talk exclusively this morning with Prairie attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30. In world news, the chaos continues in Iran and is getting deadly for protesters. Some news outlets are reporting that up to 3,000 people have been killed. Thousands more injured as President Trump claims help is on the way. He did not provide details. Meanwhile, Iran has an almost total communication blackout. A Secret Service agent has been suspended after he allegedly leaked security information regarding the travel and schedule of Vice President J.D. Vance. Officials said the agency will not tolerate any member engaging in behavior that could potentially compromise the safety and welfare of people they are protecting. And a radio announcer at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell has been dismissed after he said J.D. Vance should be shot and killed. No charges have been filed against the unnamed person, probably because of low ratings.
Nobody heard.
Nobody heard him, yeah. The House of Representatives voted 226 to 197 to reverse regulations implemented under President Biden regarding the type of shower heads consumers are permitted to use in their homes. 17 Democrats bolted from their party to join Republicans, who said regulating shower heads was overreach. In local news, Prairie firefighters quickly put out a fire at a 2-story home in the 2300 block of West Millman yesterday afternoon. The fire, which started in the kitchen, caused about $10,000 damage. 2 people got out safely, but one was treated for smoke inhalation. In court action, 32-year-old Chris Crawford has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of selling controlled substances. 20-year-old Cortez Cagle has been indicted by a grand jury for armed robbery. He is accused of robbing a 17-year-old last September in the 1600 block of Great Oak Road near Sterling Avenue and Farmington Road. We have an update on a story we reported exclusively on Monday this week. Services will be held this Friday at noon at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church for former Prairie Councilman George Jacob. The 61-year-old Jacob died Sunday at his home. He had served as president and owner of Brewers Distributing, representing the Anheuser-Busch Company. Those are the headlines.
Okay. Hang on.
We have somebody on the line.
Okay. Yes, but we need to do the weather before we have our quiz, and we have a participant who joined us on the quiz. In the meantime, let's do the weather. And it's brought to you by your hometown community banks division, Morgan Community Bank. 46 convenient locations in Central Illinois to serve you. Wonderful people there. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC. Dave, you have the weather, I think.
do indeed.
Yes, all right, thank
and
you.
as you wake up today, those skies are going to clear. It's going to be sunny, but probably the warmest this morning it's going to be for a while. Some cloudy coming in this afternoon, and colder as temperatures drop to around 23 degrees by 5 o'clock this afternoon. Along with that wind, it's going to feel a lot colder, so be sure to take a jacket on your way out of the door this morning. Tonight, clearing but windy, a low of 14 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny and 28. Tomorrow night, perhaps a dusting of snow, perhaps even up to an inch, a low of 23. Friday, cloud and those winds pick up again for a high of 37. And then Saturday, the secondary cold front comes through and brings us to a high of only 17 degrees after a Friday night low of 14. And then the chill sets in this weekend, so be ready for that. Currently, we're holding at 36 balmy degrees.
Hey, there you have the weather, and it is a Wednesday morning time for our Wednesday morning quiz, featuring our distinguished panel of Terry Chamberlain, Dave Pohls, and Tyrus, Kileon, and on the line, Steve Shaw. Good morning, Steve. Are you there, Steve? Okay, Steve is not there. Let's try this. I don't know what happened, but all right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a public service announcement, and we'll try to re-establish our connection. So stay tuned.
Every 2 seconds, somebody in America needs blood. You can help by donating blood at your local American Red Cross. Donating blood is easy. It only takes about an hour, and a single donation can help save more than one life. This is Alex O'Loughlin asking you to donate blood to help somebody in need. A friend, a neighbor, or somebody you haven't even met. Call your American Red Cross at 1-800-GIVE-LIFE or visit them at givelife.org. The need is constant. The gratification is instant. Give blood.
Think about everything that you save. You save gas, you save money, you save time. But have you ever thought about saving life? That's right, life. In just 1 hour, you could save up to 3 lives, giving 3 people more time with the ones they love. And isn't that the best thing to save?
Yes,
The need
it
for
is.
blood is as universal as it is constant. Save life, give blood.
Yeah, good advice. I think we have reestablished communication. Steve Shaw, are you there this morning?
Yes, sir. You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you quite
Morning,
clearly.
Steve.
Wasn't that the words of Thomas Edison? Did he say, "Can you hear me"? Or did he?
What's up? I think.
Yeah. And later on, he said, "Make sure you put the lid down on the toilet." That's what his wife said.
I think he did.
I think. Well, you ready to go? We got a great quiz this morning. You ready, Steve?
I'm going to try to beat Terry. That's my whole goal today.
Okay.
Beat Terry.
Yeah, we all say that. Yeah.
All right, we're starting off with a tough question. So it seems like a lot of questions regarding presidents. What president had the most children?
Well, it wasn't Buchanan.
No, that's true. It wasn't.
And it wasn't Lincoln.
Was it Benjamin
Teddy
Harrison?
Roosevelt had.
No.
The most children.
Jefferson.
No.
Well,
This was not a well-known president. As presidents go, you rarely think of this president's name.
Grover
Louis
Cleveland.
Fillmore.
No, you're on the right track. I mean, you're talking about presidents who were not well-known, and those certainly.
Pierce.
What'd you say?
Franklin Pierce is what he said.
No,
Tyler?
that's it. John Tyler.
Oh.
All right, 1-0 in favor of Terry. How many children did he have?
Two.
How many children did he have?
13.
Incorrect.
17.
Incorrect. You're on the right track, boys and girls.
Oh, my.
Double digits, so
25.
not that much double.
16.
You're getting
11.
close.
What'd you say, Steve?
Dave was close.
11.
Oh, okay.
So 15.
15 is correct.
There we go.
And moving on. Interesting, I have a little tidbit, a nice anecdote with the next question. What was the Secret Service's name for Barbara Bush?
Teacher?
No. It has to do with a sense of calmness.
Serenity?
You're on the right track. And I'll help you out. Starts with the letter T. Peace and what?
Tranquility.
That is correct.
Oh, boy.
All right, she's tough, Steve. I'm telling you, she's tough. What was the Secret Service's name for President Bush? And it was an animal. And a particular species of the animal.
It wasn't a tranquil animal, was it?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was good. But it starts with the letter T.
Oh, tiger.
No,
Well, that was my first guess.
it is a species.
Oh, species.
Of a animal that some people fear. Farmers used to worry about the animal that would
end with a
frequently
T.
kill chickens and whatever else.
Would that be coyotes?
A Toyota.
Now you're
Too many.
a tiny
A tiny coyote, yes.
yeah. And it is. I'm trying to think of that movie that. Well, I don't know what when you cut wood in anywhere, but particularly in the country in the rural area, what do they call that wood?
Timber.
Timber.
Oh, Timberwolves.
Timberwolves. No, timber.
You're on the right
Well,
track.
you're right.
Timber. What'd you say?
Timberwolves.
Rattler.
I'll give it to Tyrus. Timber wolf.
Okay.
That's his
wolf.
name.
Oh,
Here's
armor
my,
and
here's my anecdote about Barbara Bush. She came to Peoria, and she stayed with a friend of mine and his wife overnight, and they got acquainted with the H.W. Bush. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
On a cruise, and every day, and when they had meals, they sat at a table with H.W. Bush and his wife, Barbara. And I'll tell you the names of Bill O'Brien and Nora O'Brien, who live not too far from where you live, as a matter of fact. So isn't that something to be able to host the president's wife? Interesting.
Yeah.
Who was president when running water was installed in the White House?
Would that be Taft?
That would be a good guess, but incorrect.
Or close, though, right?
I don't know whether it's close or
Okay,
not.
so let's go backwards. Roosevelt? Roosevelt the first?
No,
Okay, we're going to go back then.
I'm trying to think of.
McKinley.
That was a good guess by Steve Shaw.
Harrison?
His first name starts with the letter A.
Abraham Lincoln?
No. And his last name started with the letter J.
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson by the panel. Next question. What American president turned over the government 40 years of checks?
I don't understand the question.
Well, apparently the government wrote checks, and he turned them all over to the government. There's no explanation. I just read what was written.
He turned over 40 years of checks. Not checks and balances, but checks.
Yes.
Like the kind you're right, for
Yeah.
cash, okay.
But it doesn't matter whether he turned over toilets or horses.
Abraham Lincoln.
No.
Or a new
Yes.
leaf, perhaps he.
I'll help you out on this one, panel, because I can see by your expressions you're stumped on this one. His first and last name with the same letter.
Woodrow Wilson?
No,
That's a good guess, so.
that was a good guess, because that was the same letter. And I'll give you another clue. Think of the Depression.
Herbert Hoover.
Herbert Hoover is correct. Next question. What did Woodrow Wilson denounce as the symbol of the arrogance of wealth? What was the symbol in his mind of wealth in the United States? And in the beginning, that's probably true. But today, anybody with some money in the bank or in a savings account is able to purchase this symbol of
Automobile.
the automobile. Is right by Steve Shaw.
I'm not skunked.
Yes.
Nope,
Okay.
nope.
Who was the woman Iva DeQuino that Gerald Ford pardoned in 1977?
was she?
Yes, and I will help you out. She had something to do with World War II.
Oh, she was a
Tokyo
spy.
Rose?
Tokyo Rose is correct. What president was ticketed for speeding while in office?
Ulysses Grant.
Well, good.
I know that story,
You-
too.
You didn't even
So that's the
hesitate
real
on
quick
that
on
one.
this one. He actually would hitch up the wagons and go down Pennsylvania Avenue, and it was dirt. That was his leisure time, and he'd go fast, and the constable pulled him over because he had no protection at the time. Didn't know who it was dark. So the guy says, "Excuse me, you're the president." He says, "You still have to do your duty, young man. Give me the ticket."
And they did.
He did.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
You know, I used to believe that Grant was born and raised in Galena, Illinois. But you know who corrected me because I mentioned it on the air? Jonathan Winters.
Oh.
Because Jonathan was from Ohio. And he said, no, Roger.
Yeah, he's Ohio.
He said, think about it. And I said, it wasn't Galena, Illinois? No. He said he was from Ohio. Thank you, Jonathan, for that. All right, good questions here. The next one, breed of dogs were Nixon's Checkers and FDR's Fala. Fala,
Cocker Spaniel.
F-A-L-A. Checkers was what?
Cocker Spaniel?
That is correct. And Fala was what I have.
A Scottish Terrier.
Scottish Terrier, correct. Before it was called Camp David, what was the presidential retreat called?
Oh, I read this.
It's a Chinese name.
Was it Shangri-La?
Shangri-La is
There
correct.
you go.
No, no.
All right, as we move on to the next question, where did President Lincoln spend $2,600 for a string of pearls and matching earrings for his wife, Mary?
Like where? Like a town or
No, store.
a store?
Tiffany's?
Tiffany's is correct.
There you
I
go.
didn't even know it was around back then,
Wow.
but it was. All right, our next question, ladies and gentlemen, as everybody's sitting on the edge of their seats, who has given the shortest inaugural address? Who gave the shortest inaugural?
It wasn't
address?
Harrison, was it?
It was not. What'd you say, Steve?
Coolidge?
No.
George Washington?
George Washington is correct. Now, I know you can't get this one, and it's not asked, but I'll ask it. How many words do you think his address consisted of? And it was more than 100 and not more than 200, if that'll help you out.
110?
135, you're correct. All right. Good job.
And he said political parties.
What
would be
was the
a bad thing.
one-word telegram Bob Hope sent to President Truman when he won the election in 1948? One word.
Congratulations.
That would sound logical.
That's not it.
No.
Okay.
Did you hear this?
Yeah. Not yet.
You know, we could do this one when you're.
I like that.
Okay. All right, I'll help you out. What do you do when you arrive at your destination on vacation and you get in the hotel? What do?
Relax.
That's a good question or a good answer.
Unpack.
Unpack is correct. That was the word that Bob Hope sent to President Truman. Where did George Washington go when he left our shores only once?
France.
No.
Mexico?
No.
Like the.
You're
is it in the Caribbean?
Yeah, I believe so.
Dominican Republic.
Bahamas?
Somewhere in there.
Starts with the letter B.
Bermuda?
No.
Bahamas?
You're close. I guess you're close.
Barbados?
Barbados,
Yeah,
yeah.
correct. Very
Steve.
good. And it was in 1851. Do you know why he went there? He went
Hopefully
with
was to purchase slaves.
He went with an ailing half brother. And what happened? when Washington went there?
His brother died.
No? Something happened to, I guess, George.
Oh, because he died of like a
He contacted
a blood.
smallpox.
Gotcha.
Didn't know. Who was the first president to be paid $100,000 as president?
Well, it's gotta be
Above the
relatively
table or
recent.
below the table?
Yeah.
Above the table in this case.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Incorrect.
Eisenhower?
Incorrect.
Is it? I was going to say later. Or
Kennedy.
Incorrect.
Johnson?
No.
Are we moving in the right direction?
I don't know which direction you're going.
Going
in.
this way towards us.
He was a Democrat.
Okay.
Carter.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
100,000.
I hope you didn't say it. And
Franklin-
I didn't hear
Franklin
it,
Roosevelt?
No. Because you named
Truman?
just about, Truman is correct.
Oh. So we were in between those eras.
Nice going. Next question. What former American president worked in his teen years in the summer as a barker at the Slippery Gulch Carnival in Prescott, Arizona?
It'd be, I don't know. One of the Bushes by chance?
No?
No.
Ronald Reagan.
I will help you out. He was a Republican.
Okay.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Incorrect. See, what other, let's see,
Eisenhower. I'm just going by Republicans.
we've already mentioned his name in a previous question.
Okay, so it was not one of the Bushes. It was not Reagan. It was not.
Herbert Hoover.
No. More modern.
Okay. A Republican, you
president
say.
and a
Nixon?
Nixon is
There we
correct.
go.
Richard Nixon. Who is credited with writing Washington's farewell address?
James Monroe.
Thank you. I know my uncle would be happy with that, but it was not Uncle Jim.
Would it be Martha Washington?
And no. Yeah, that was very,
Say, "Here, honey, do this for me."
very good.
Jefferson.
And no. This guy's name actually has two streets. His first
John
name,
Adams.
His first name is after a street, and his last name is a street. The first name is a street on the North End where I was raised, and the second name is a street in downtown Peoria.
It was one of those streets a president's name?
Yes.
Okay. So we already said Jefferson, Adam, Monroe,
Nice. Madison.
Madison.
Yeah. No?
John Adams.
Adams, Madison, Monroe.
I may have thrown you off
Okay.
course, and I won't clarify that. Think of a person who was high in the government in the early colonial days, and his first name started
Hamilton?
with yes.
Hamilton.
Alexander.
Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Thank
boy.
you. What did FDR have imprinted on the White House matchbooks? This is clever. This is a great question. And people listening will say, of all the questions, this
This
is
is
the
the
most
one.
fascinating.
Be careful.
What? Well, you're on the right.
Okay.
You're on the right track.
Okay.
What was on the White House matchbooks?
How many words?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 words.
Which president? Or which?
Washington.
And it's, along,
No, I'm sorry, FDR.
and it's along the lines of being careful, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Well, in a way, it's a stretch.
Don't play with matches.
Well, you're close.
don't play with fire.
No?
See, strike with caution.
Okay. The The last 1, 2, 3, 4 words of the 5 said from the White House. So what was the first word? Starts with the letter S. Has to do with thievery.
What, Steve?
Steal.
Stolen from the White House?
That's it.
Stolen from the White
Isn't
House.
that clever?
That is clever.
Well, very good, FDR. And finally, what is the average age for presidents to take office? Another great question from our quizmaster, Phil Salzer, who prepares these.
Is it in the 60s, just because it's average?
No, it is not.
Older than
That's
that or
too
younger?
high.
Oh, too high.
Yes.
Well, you have to be at least 40, don't
You have to be, yeah, you have to be
52.
45. Yeah.
52 is close.
50.
Not so close.
55.
Ooh.
54.
54 is correct. Well, very good, panel. Well done. And you know what? I thought these questions were absolutely fascinating.
They were at a real different reach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
close to president.
Steve Shaw, thank you for participating. And
Well, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
always great talking with the guy who has made helped to make St. Jude one of the greatest telethons in the United States. Thank you, Steve Young. Steve Young. I said, didn't I? Sorry, Steve Shaw. It's terrible when
but he's feeling very
terrible
young.
when you get old. Names just come and go. At any rate, let's save life with our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. Dogs that are left to languish on a chain in all weather conditions all day and night, day after day, are being treated cruelly. They are often abused, neglected, and forgotten. This kind of treatment inflicts both physiological and psychological damage on these isolated dogs. Such treatment always leads to unsocialized animals that can become territorial and violent. Tragically, children can become the victims of these dogs. From October 2003 through November 2010, 328 children were killed or seriously injured by chained dogs across our country. This is a direct result of the owner's mishandling, lack of care for another creature, and it is not the dog's fault. People are the problem. Very often, chained dogs are being kept for dog fighting, which is now illegal. If you see or know of a dog in your area that is being continuously chained or tied up, please notify your local animal control. Or if you feel safe and comfortable in approaching the home, try to educate them on how cruel a practice this is. Ask if you can help in some way. Maybe you could walk the dog after work or school for the owner, or suggest a local doggy daycare. Any help you can seek on behalf of the dog would be the right thing to do. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com. PeoriaPetCreamatory.com.
Thank you, Louis Linder. Our dear friend, Officer Friendly, Eddie Parker's on the line. Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning, Uncle Roger and friends. I love you guys. I miss you guys. I heard you put an ATV out on me. I'm alive and well.
Yeah, I called police yesterday and turned you in as a missing person, and they knew who you were, and they said, we don't care.
No, so what I was calling for, other than saying hello and Happy New Year, and I miss you guys, the average age is the 50s, but you got to be 35 to be the president is what I was really trying to call, but I couldn't get on the line because I was like, they had the black blocker up, so I was like, okay, fine. I tried to speak in my white. When the voicemail came on, I tried to speak in my whitest, politest voice. Hello, this is Edward.
Yeah, Edward of Edwards, Illinois, calling in. I'd like to be on the show for that. Where you been? I know. First of all, let me get on a serious note. Extend condolences. I know you had a member of your family who passed away, and my thoughts are with you and Emma and your family.
Thank you, Uncle Roger. That means a lot. I still, the truth be told, it still hasn't really kicked in yet. You know how that goes, though. Like, literally, he was just with us last year at the Christmas program and several other things, and it's just unbelievable. But I also know, because I'm a believer in God, that he's in a better place. So they say, absent with the body, present with the Lord. So I got to hang on to my faith on that one, and it kind of gets me through one day at a time. That's all it is.
How old was he, Ed?
He had just turned 58.
That's too young. I know when you told me how old he was, I thought, that's far too young. 68, 78 is too young in my book. But, well, God bless you. And like you say, he's in a better place. Have you done any shows lately? You got any coming up?
Well, the big one that you're going to be a part of, my annual birthday party comedy show with me and my birthday twin, Titus White, is going to be February 27th. I'm just taking a break until we get things prepared for that. That's all I'm working on right now.
Yeah, but I know you're busy. You were telling me you were working 16-hour days, were you not?
Oh, yeah, yep. And so usually Monday through Wednesday, that's what it is. I work 8 for the one department, 8 for the next department, or I work 12 for one and then an additional, whatever it takes to make the 16. So, and really, if you think about it, it's only 24 hours in a day. You don't get 8 hours of sleep. Nobody do. If you say that, you feel me. Because I wake up every night in the middle of the night and got to go to the bathroom. Even if I didn't drink no water, I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, what's going on, my friend, is you're getting old.
Yes.
And there's no cure for that. Now you work at the Park District from what, 3 to 11, something like that?
It just depends. It varies. Yeah, sometimes 4 to 10, sometimes 6 to 11 or 12. It just depends on what the assignment is. But usually, yeah, when I get off from one, I'm going into the other, and that's pretty much how that ball bounces.
Yeah, and when I found out that you worked that second shift, I used to, for my dates, I used to park in Detweiler Park. But with you walking around and driving around, I've gone over on the other side of the river.
It's all good. You know I wouldn't arrest you on the Roger. I'd be like, look, man, you know you don't supposed to be in this park.
You know that's great. I can hear you say that. I really can. I think that's how you approach people. You're very on the calm side, and you like to use reason rather than force, and you're a perfect man for the perfect job.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's a very, very, very amazing thing coming from someone that because you the person that is a role model for many, 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 many. So I just hope and pray to God that when I do reach the pinnacle that you are aspiring, I'll have the same type of ambitions and dreams and stuff like that.
I don't know if I'd call it a pinnacle, but thank you nonetheless.
I'm blessed, Roger.
Yes, you are blessed. You and your wife, Emma, and your family, the community is blessed to have your leadership and the role that you play, particularly for young people, and not just young black kids, but all kids. They need a role model in their lives, and you are the perfect person for it. One of those selected by the mayor, Mayor Rita Ali. You're part of that. What do they call that? Mentorship?
The role model program. Yes, that's the role model program. Like I said, she emailed me from her office. They emailed and I sent it straight to Miss Parker, And she's like, yeah, you need to do this, Ed, because I thought it was like a scam at first.
Yeah.
Hey, role model, who am I going to roll? What role I'm playing? You
Well,
know
the
what
only
I'm
role
saying?
I
Big
like
tough
is the ones we get from Dunkin' Donuts.
I like those rolls.
There you go.
I love those rolls. And not fond of the roll that develops around the abdomen area for that matter.
Are you doing the show Monday on MLK thing or whatever?
Yes, I am. Are you going to come
I'll
in?
pop in and I'll be the diplomat of the brown people that day. Then
Okay,
just remind
that's
me this
wonderful.
weekend. 'Cause
Can't
we're
wait
off.
for it to happen, my friend. Don't be a stranger. Have you punched in yet?
I am, yeah. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm just now, so I'm finna go make my rounds. I just wanted to say good morning. Love
Well,
you guys.
thank you.
And I'll see you Monday then.
All right, thanks.
All right, have a great
appreciate
day.
it. God bless
All right,
you.
you too. Bye-bye.
All right. Eddie Parker, it's, oh, wow, we are 7:06, and you're having breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois. Also on YouTube, and it means it's time for news. And our news at the top of the hour brought to you by Steve Sink of PHX Affiliates. This gentleman is involved in helping people buy and or sell their businesses. If you have any questions related to either selling or perhaps purchasing a business, contact Steve Sink, and his phone number is 309-696-8508. The number again for Steve, 309-696-8508. And Steve brings you the weather with Dave Pohls. Dave, what do you have
Do
for
indeed. Well, we're going to look for a variety of weather in these next few days. Starting today with a chance of snow flurries, some cloudy weather, then gradually clearing this afternoon and getting colder as those temperatures drop to around 23 degrees by drive time this afternoon. So it's going to feel a lot colder thanks to those strong and blustery winds clocking up to 34 miles an hour. So wear a sweater, wear a coat, wear a hat, and stay warm. Tonight, clear but windy, a low of 14. Tomorrow it bounces back a little better, sunny and 28. Now, tomorrow night, perhaps some snow moving in, perhaps up to an inch or dusting. Just stay ready for that. Low of 23, so it gets a little warmer. Friday, cloudy and windy, though, high of 37. And then that cold front, the second cold front, comes through for the weekend. High of only 17 on Saturday after a Friday night low of 14, so a chilly, chilly weekend ahead. Currently, we're looking at 33 degrees.
And we're looking at news now, brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates. Sam is a dean of insurance representatives. He's a broker. He can shop around for the best price, for the best coverage, and he particularly specializes in healthcare, Medicare. And you can reach Sam Lilly at 309-245-4374, 309-245-4374. Terry Chamberlain has our lead story.
The Supreme Court yesterday heard pro and con arguments of male athletes seeking to compete as females. Two cases are before the High Court. After about 3 hours of competing opinions from attorneys on both sides of the question, the justices retired. A decision is expected anywhere from late this month to June of this year.
Isn't that a great question to ask? Well, how can you, maybe at the end of the month. If not the end of the month, you would think, okay, end of next month. Oh, no, the end of June or the 1st of June. That's ridiculous. Vote it up or vote it down.
It is.
Thank you.
I happened to catch some of the
I couldn't
stuff
stand
yesterday.
it.
And
couldn't stand it.
I couldn't take it. It's like, for heaven's sake.
I'm going to try using that at home. Can you do the laundry? Well, I'll give you that decision between May and June. Sometime in that month.
In the meantime, wear the stinky underwear you have on now.
That's right.
Some were speculating the vote will support banning women from male sports, with the 3 liberal judges opposing the ban. We'll talk exclusively this morning with Attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 about this and other legal matters.
Turning to some world news, the chaos continues in Iran, and it's getting deadly for protesters. Some news outlets are reporting that up to 3,000 people have been killed by Iranian police and the military. Thousands more injured as President Trump exclaims help is on the way. He did not provide any details. Meanwhile, Iran has almost total communication blackout with orders from top government officials to police to shoot to kill.
A Secret Service agent has been suspended after he allegedly leaked security information regarding the travel and schedule of Vice President J.D. Vance. Officials said the agency will not tolerate any member of the agency engaging in any behavior that could potentially compromise the safety and welfare of people they are protecting.
And a radio announcer at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell has been dismissed after he said J.D. Vance should be shot and killed. Surprisingly, no charges have been filed against the unnamed person, probably because of low ratings at that station.
I still think that's funny after hearing it for the third time.
Yeah.
The House of Representatives voted 226 to 197 to reverse regulations implemented under President Biden regarding the type of shower heads consumers are permitted to use in their homes. 17 Democrats bolted from their party to join Republicans, who said regulating shower heads was regulatory overreach.
In local news, Peoria firefighters quickly put out a fire at a two-story home in the 2300 block of West Millman yesterday afternoon. The fire, which started in the kitchen, caused about $10,000 in damage. 2 people got out safely, but 1 was treated for smoke inhalation.
In court action, 32-year-old Chris Crawford has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of selling controlled substances. And 20-year-old Cortez Cagle has been indicted by a grand jury for armed robbery. He's accused of robbing a 17-year-old last September in the 1600 block of Great Oak Road near Sterling Avenue and Farmington Road.
We have an update in a story reported exclusively on Monday this week. Services will be held this Friday at noon at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church for former Peoria Councilman George Jacob. The 61-year-old Jacob, who died Sunday at his home, had served as president and owner of Brewers Distributing, representing the Anheuser-Busch Company. And that is the news.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. The Peoria Fire Department is getting more than $3 million in federal grant funding to increase its staffing levels and improve emergency response. Fire Chief Sean Sahlberger says the department learned in August its application for a safer grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency was approved for the award.
Essentially, it's going to give us the ability to hire 11 more firefighters and have 4-person truck companies. So every single day, there will be at least 60 firefighters working every day.
Sahlberger says the additional staffing will bring the department's total number of firefighters to more than 180. Town halls, special city council meetings, and political events, and what each requires legally, are the subjects of a town hall policy under consideration by the Pekin City Council. Under the policy, no more than 6 town halls can be held annually. Pekin Economic Development Director Josh Ray tells the council that a goal of the policy is to avoid excess meetings.
There's no rush on this. It's just a thought, because we do want to have more public engagement. We do want to present more information to the public, be more transparent, but we don't want to have a meeting every other week.
The policy presented during this week's council meeting was written after a flurry of town halls and a Q&A session were held late last year. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul is filing a federal lawsuit with the city of Chicago against Border Patrol and ICE for what he calls their dangerous tactics during last fall's deportation campaign.
Agents have arrested hundreds of Illinoisans without warrants, randomly questioned hundreds more, and unleashed chemical weapons upon law-abiding and peaceful residents.
The Attorney General wants federal agents to stay away from sensitive locations like hospitals and drive in vehicles with visible plates. And early numbers show a slight drop in health insurance enrollment in Illinois through the Affordable Care Act this year compared to a record-breaking year in 2025. The state has experienced a 4% decline in enrollment so far, which is not as severe as expected. The slight drop comes after tax subsidies that made ACA insurance more affordable ended on December 31st, and as Congress considers whether there is a path to extend the subsidies. I'm Courtney Conroy, WCBU News.
All right, Courtney, thank you so much. And now it's time for sports. Standing by with all the latest is Tyrus. Good morning, Tyrus.
Good morning. Thank you, Roger. Let's start with some Bradley basketball. They are 13-6 after winning in overtime versus Evansville, 94-90, and then an exciting game on the road. Next game is Saturday at 1 p.m. versus Illinois State University. It is an away game also. Bradley girls basketball are 10-6 after beating Indiana State 79-74. The next game is Friday versus Drake. It is also an away game. Other news, Illinois basketball are 13-3 after beating Iowa 75-69. Next game is tonight against Northwestern at 7:30 p.m. We shall see what happens in that one. College football playoffs, Miami plays Indiana for the national championship. Monday, January 19th at 6:30 p.m. NFL news, the Bears, after completing one of the best playoff comebacks in NFL history, move on to this Sunday at 5:30 p.m. against the Rams in the divisional round. Should be one of the coldest games, too. NFL playoffs. Also, Bills versus Broncos, first game on Saturday. Then at 3:30 Saturday night, Seahawks and 49ers at 7 p.m. On Sunday, Texans and Patriots play at 2 p.m. And then later, Rams and Bears, 5:30. Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers have, I'm going to say, mutually parted ways. 19 seasons and 1 Super Bowl for him there. And never a losing season either. NHL news, the Blackhawks, who are 19-20-7, play the Flames tomorrow at 7:30. And are now looking to get back on track after losing 2 in a row. The St. Louis Blues beat the Carolina Hurricanes last night 3-0 in a shutout. Good win for them. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are 18-21 after losing last night to the Rockets 113-119, despite Trey Jones having a career high in points. 34 on a very efficient 11 for 12. They play tonight at home versus the Utah Jazz at 7 p.m. And then MLB news, the Cardinals traded Nolan Arenado and $31 million to the Arizona Diamondbacks for right-handed pitching prospect Jack Martinez, who was an 8th-round pick last year. And that's our sports report.
Well, that's what we have from Tyrus. Thank you. And on the line, we have our, brought to you by BradleyFans.com, our specialists, and World of Sports, Dr. Gene Sidler. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning, everyone.
You know, just a quick note about what Tyrus reported about the coach resigning from Pittsburgh. He probably saw the handwriting on the wall.
Yeah.
And, you know, they fire people or don't renew their contract really in part due to clamoring fans. I mean, they want to have a winner. So what are they left with? What are the cards that the owners can play with? Well, they can't get rid of everybody on the team, so the coach is a logical one to go.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree, Gene?
Well, it's a complex situation. Yes, the team wants to win, and although Pittsburgh's mostly had winning records through the whole tenure of Mike Tomlin, they haven't won in the playoffs, and that's really the big thing that teams want to do. They want to be able to get to the playoffs and advance in the playoffs and have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl, and he's never quite gotten very far once he's in the playoffs, and of course this year they missed out. So yeah, I think he knew this was coming, and fans have been upset for a long time. Pro sports maybe less than in college. The fan outrage plays a little less of a part because they still fill the stadiums. They still make bundles of money off the TV contracts, and so it's not hurting the team's revenues significantly. So it's really more, I think, in this case, about winning and advancing in the playoffs.
Well, speaking of winning, Bradley won a big win on the road. I was watching the score, not the game, and it was nip and tuck all the way, wasn't it?
Well, in the first half, Evansville ran out to a pretty sizable lead. They had a 13-point lead early in the first half. Bradley fought their way back, and were only down 7 at halftime. And then in the early part of the second half, they made a little bit of a run and pulled even. And then it did go back and forth, several lead changes, never more than a 2 or 3 point difference either way for most of the second half, and right down to the end. You know, Bradley led for a little bit down the stretch, and Evansville led for a little bit down the stretch, and then it was tied, and of course went to overtime, and in the overtime Bradley managed to pull a little bit of a head and hold that. So very exciting game. just a tremendous game by Bradley sophomore Jaquan Johnson, 35 points.
Wow.
He had 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and 6 steals. You don't usually see people getting more than 1 or possibly 2 steals in a game. Jaquan Johnson is second in the country in steals per game, and he had 6 of them last night. That's 6 extra possessions for your team and 6 fewer for the other team when you can have a guy take the ball away like that. And he was just incredible. And then Ahmet Janovic, a big 7'1" center for Bradley, finally had a good game. He struggled the last several games. He had 15 points and 12 rebounds, played good defense inside. Bradley, they keep a statistic called points in the paint, and Bradley had 48 points in the paint compared to just 26 for Evansville. So it shows you that Bradley's scoring inside, and then they're keeping Evansville from getting into the lane and getting easy baskets, which has been a problem for Bradley much of the year. The team's being able to score inside on them, and this time it was not the case. Bradley dominated inside, and it was a good game for several of the players, and then there were some other players that had off games, and that's what allowed Evansville to hang in there and stay close for the game.
Yeah. Describe the paint, the area that is called the paint.
Yeah, the nickname for the paint. They used to paint the area between the free throw lane down to the baseline, and then between the two lines that the players line up on for the free throws. They used to paint that a different colors. Now they don't, but they still call it the paint inside. That's where a lot of baskets are scored. You try to, obviously, it's a little higher percentage shot the closer you can get to the basket, and that's the part you have to really work to defend.
Yeah, and historically, I believe, at least in the last few years and maybe more, Bradley has not been strong in the paint because they haven't had a big guy who was a big scorer for a number of years. Tell me who, historically, because you have BradleyFans.com, you have fans commenting on Bradley games past and present, who was probably the most dominating player Bradley ever had in the paint?
Well, there have been a few, and one of the dominant ones was a 5'10" guy, Squeaky Melchiori, back in early 1950s. And somehow he was able to, with spin moves and hook shots, be able to score a lot of points down low against much taller players. But now since then, you had guys like Joe Allen in the 1960s, Hall of Famer at Bradley. We had a player right after Joe Allen, Steve Kuberski. You remember him? And he had a nice
went to the Celtics, didn't he?
Professional career with the Celtics. Won a championship with the Celtics. There have been some players that with Hersey Hawkins that played in the 1980s, Donald Powell and
David Thirdkill. I think he was.
Well, David Thirdkill, he was kind of an inside and outside player, and he also won a championship with Larry Bird, in the 1986 Celtics. Mike Williams, big Mike Williams,
graduate of Manual High School.
Mike Williams was from Chicago.
I thought he went to Manual.
Mike Davis was the Manual.
Mike Davis, there you go. Yeah.
Was a first-team all-conference player in the 70s for Joe Stoll. Yeah, he played with Bobby Humbles back in the 1970s.
Yeah, Mike Davis.
But you're right. In recent years, Bradley has not had that big dominating inside player. Maybe in the late teens and early 20s, we had trying to remember.
Who was the big kid that dropped out of Bradley? He hoped he would make it to the NBA. Gotten in a dispute, I think, with the Bradley coach O'Brien. O'Brien, was that his name? He was a big kid, big, tall, skinny kid.
Patrick Bryant. Patrick O'Brien.
I knew we'd get it. Yes.
Yeah, he played for Jim Les in the early 2000s, and he was on that 2006 team that made the Sweet 16.
That's right.
And as a sophomore, and he went into the draft and was a lottery pick, number 9 overall pick. by the Golden State Warriors, and he bounced around the NBA for a few years and ended up playing a long overseas career after that. He might be, like you were asking, the best really skilled, true inside big man. He was a 7-foot player for Bradley. And since then, they've had a variety of inside players, but they're more complementary players, not the kind that are going to be the team's leading scorer. Malave Leon, who's now with the he's with the Golden State Warriors now. He was traded, and he was a pretty good inside player, although he got a lot of his points from outside as well.
Okay, what's next for Bradley? The ISU game?
Well, yeah, next is a big rivalry game, ISU on Saturday night, and Saturday afternoon. That's a 1 p.m. game Saturday. Fortunately, not going to interfere with watching the NFL games that are on Saturday, but that's a tough game. Illinois State was picked number 1 in the preseason poll in the Missouri Valley. They've struggled a little bit, lost a couple in a row, and so they're looking to bounce back. And they've got some talented players over there, so it'll be a tough struggle for Bradley. I think Bradley can win that game, but it'll be a tough test.
One final question for you. We have a story about the Supreme Court arguing about who can play what game against what gender and so forth. We had a discussion before the justices of the Supreme Court yesterday. I don't know, I heard some of the arguments on one side, some of the arguments on the other side, and the attorney for the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, left-wing legal group, was asked about defining sex, and she couldn't answer it. So I'm asking you, can you define it for us this morning? Because I'm confused.
Well, as you know, Roger, I have a bachelor's degree in science, and I have my medical degree. I think I can take a shot.
Take a stab at it. Would you take a stab?
Yes, biological sex is determined by your chromosomes, the genetic makeup that every cell in your body has. And there's an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. Men have the Y chromosome and women have the X chromosome. That's the 23rd pair of chromosomes. There's 46 chromosomes altogether in every cell. And on the 23rd pair, you have this difference between men and women, and it determines all the differences between the two sexes. And it's funny that the lawyers arguing for these two states to strike down this ban that the states have on transgenders playing in women's sports, that the lawyers are using the Title IX argument, when in fact, if you read the text of Title IX, it says that no person should be deprived equal treatment based on sex. It doesn't say gender. It doesn't say gender assignment. It doesn't say what they think they are. It says sex, and sex is immutably described as the difference that is genetic between male and female.
You know what? I want to compliment you. I think I understood what you said, that basically there is a difference between boys and girls, men and women. Is that
people have noticed that, Roger, for millions of years, and now suddenly in 2026, apparently there are people confused about that, and it's hard to understand.
When you got married, did you ask Becky how many chromosomes she had?
Well, I did. I did an inventory. And
was that a blood test or just by personal observation?
No.
You know, we're making light of it because I can't believe that presidents of universities of higher learning, academic education and curriculums where reason and rational thought should be supreme. And the Supreme Court's going to take until maybe the end of this month or by June to figure out the difference between men and women, boys and girls. I think this country suffers from mental health. We need more mental health. And I would send some of the Supreme Court justices for some rehab. I feel better
That
after saying that.
might do more good than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. How do you think it's going to come down? There's some so-called experts are suggesting the Supreme Court's going to vote, 6-3 to ban?
Well, I saw talking heads on TV saying 8-2. I'm sorry, 8-1 or 7-2, and I still think there's going to be 6-3. I think there's still going to be stubbornness in the liberal jurists who are going to cater to their base. So I think it'll be 6-3, but it will go that direction.
All right, as always, appreciate it. I don't know whether they're talking about on BradleyFans.com, but there's a lot there, and we're going to continue this conversation with Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan. So thank you for your medical perspective as well as your college. Do you say bachelor's in science?
Well, in chemistry, actually, not biology,
Okay.
but it's close.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. All right, thanks, Gene. Appreciate it. God love you. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Dr. Gene Sidler, and our barrister is here, so let's get into the news, and we'll talk to Kevin Sullivan. And our news at the bottom of the hour with Terry Chamberlain, brought to you by the Senior Vice President, Financial Advisor with the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in Peoria. Of course, we're talking about Bob Manning, and for all your investment needs, check out Bob. Bob Manning's available at 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. Now here's Terry.
Well, as we were just talking about, the Supreme Court has heard pro and con arguments on male athletes seeking to compete as females. 2 cases are before the High Court. After about 3 hours of competing opinions from attorneys on both sides of the question, the justices retired. A decision is expected anywhere from late this month to June. Some legal experts believe the vote will support banning women from male sports, with the 3 liberal judges opposing the ban. We're going to hear exclusively this morning from Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan. In world news, the chaos continues in Iran and is getting deadly for protesters. Some news outlets are reporting that up to 3,000 people have been killed. Thousands more injured as President Trump claims help is on the way. He did not provide details. Meanwhile, Iran has an almost total communication blackout. A Secret Service agent has been suspended after he allegedly leaked security information regarding the travel and schedule of Vice President J.D. Vance. Officials said the agency will not tolerate any member engaging in behavior that could potentially compromise the safety and welfare of people they're protecting. A radio announcer at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell has been dismissed after he said J.D. Vance should be shot and killed. No charges have been filed against the unnamed person. Could be because of low ratings. The House of Representatives voted 226 to 197 to reverse regulations implemented under President Biden regarding the type of shower heads consumers are permitted to use in their homes. 17 Democrats bolted from their party to join Republicans, who said regulating shower heads was overreach. In local news, Prairie firefighters quickly put out a fire at a 2-story home in the 2300 block of West Millman yesterday afternoon. The fire, which started in the kitchen, caused about $10,000 damage. 2 people got out safely, but 1 was treated for smoke inhalation. In court action, 32-year-old Chris Crawford has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of selling controlled substances. 20-year-old Cortez Cagle has been indicted by a grand jury for armed robbery. He's accused of robbing a 17-year-old last September in the 1600 block of Great Oak Road near Sterling Avenue and Farmington Road. And we have an update on a story we reported exclusively on Monday this week. Services will be held this Friday at noon at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church for former Peoria Councilman George Jacob. The 61-year-old Jacob died Sunday at his home. He had served as president and owned a Brewers Distributing, representing the Anheuser-Busch Company. And those are the headlines, Roger.
Thank you very much, Terry. You know, we learn early hard work produces results, and that's why Realtor Kathy Reynolds is so successful. She works very, very hard to get results for her clients seeking to sell and or buying their next home. And you can learn more from Kathy. She's available today at 309-696-2162. Kathy brings us the weather with Dave. Dave, what do you have?
Well, you look out today, and chilly day ahead. Starts out okay, though. Clouding up a little bit. A couple snow flurries might be floating around here throughout the day. And as that first cold front moves through, it's going to be dropping to around 23 degrees by your drive time this afternoon. It's going to feel a lot colder thanks to those strong and blustery winds clocking up to 34 miles an hour. So stay warm out there. Tonight, clear but windy, low of 14. So when you wake up tomorrow, put that jacket on. But it does rebound a little better. Tomorrow, sunny and 28 degrees. Tomorrow night, we think a chance of light dusting, as it were, of snow, perhaps an inch or so, low around 23. And then Friday, it clouds up again. It'll be breezy and windy, high of 37. And then that secondary cold front comes through this weekend, bringing us a high of 17 on Saturday and a very chilly weekend, January-like weekend ahead. Good weekend to stay in and watch some football games, right? Friday night, low of 14. Currently, we're holding at 33 degrees.
7:36 is our time, and it is a Wednesday morning. Once again, visiting and chatting with Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan. And when I learned Sunday, late Sunday, and we talked about it on our program Monday, the passing of George Jacob. George, well known throughout the community. And I would not be surprised, Kevin, if you didn't also, among many, many others, knew George.
I knew George very well. I have a really funny story about George. And but George and I became friends before he was ever on the council. He's about 2 years younger than I am. And, you know, what's not to like about George? He was just that kind of guy. He had a magnetic personality. He was not too full of himself. He did a good job. He was a good family man. Wonderful wife, Janine. Her maiden name was Corey. He's got great kids. I just saw George's oldest son yesterday, George Francis Jr., and he's going to be the heir apparent, I think, but the other kids are really sweet kids. And, you know, you feel terrible for their loss because it's going to be a void in their life. But you got to feel some sort of relief or blessing for George to be
He's been through a lot, hasn't he?
You know, to be relieved of the binds and the bounds that he was facing as part of his condition. And I'm sure he was welcomed at the gates with open arms, having served his penance here on earth. So I'm hoping I've got a bad court day on Friday, so I'm hoping I can move some stuff to at least make part of the services Friday, and I'm going to do my best to do that. But my funny story is, in 2005, I had gone with some friends, to George Bush Jr.'s second inauguration. And it was just a group of guys. And what happened is the five guys that were there, we were staying in Georgetown, but we kind of had a pact and said, if we get lost in the crowds, and believe me, there were crowds, we're going to meet at the bar at the Willard Hotel, because that's right by the subway to get over to Georgetown. And lo and behold, we all got separated. We all have to walk several blocks because there's no vehicular transportation with security. So I'm walking up the street, and I'm in a dark coat, and I'm in a tuxedo, and it's snowing like crazy outside, and it's cold, and it's miserable. And here comes a vehicle down the street at me, and I didn't pay attention. It was a black Suburban. Okay, how many thousands of Suburbans are there in Washington, D.C.?
That are black.
You know, that's right. The guy pulls up, and he says, "Hey, Kevin Sullivan." I go, "Oh, man, you guys are good." I thought it was the Secret Service, and I was maybe walking somewhere. How do you know who I am? I'm not carrying dog tags. I mean, it was George and his wife and Henry Holling and his wife.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. You know, and they laughed, and we talked for a few minutes, and you think I got a ride? No, I kept on walking.
That is indeed a funny story. Well, there's nothing funny about the Supreme Court. Let's talk about it. And, you know, I think everybody in this room are on the same page. What is so difficult for people in high places or any place to not realize that boys shouldn't be playing, pardon the expression, with girls.
Well, I mean, there's certain things that I guess precede and transcend the law, and it might be the law of mankind. And boys were born as boys, girls as girls. They obviously have different functions. They are built differently. That's obviously on purpose. I mean, it's like God's law. Okay. Now, I know you can say, well, you have certain people that are homosexual or certain people that are heterosexual. That's a different subject. That's a different than biology in this situation. Okay. So, and the advantage is typically males are built bigger and stronger and faster. They always say women are the softer sex, and I mean, in this day and age, there's some great athletes, but you can't, physically, again, the law of God says there's innate and direct disadvantages if the two are going to play competitive sports. And, I was listening last night briefly, and I remember the situation, and I think it wasn't a volleyball player, maybe in Iowa, and it was a male that was a transgender playing on the girls' team, and spiked a ball, and broke a girl's face, and broke her nose, and caused a traumatic brain injury. That's the example right there. Are you going to now have women playing in the NFL? You're going to have the NBA instead of the WNBA? It's going to lead to a disaster, like college sports has become a disaster, and for other reasons, And yet you get these people that they're transgender, and under the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution, or under Title IX, which is a statute to try to protect and equalize sports, which I don't think it extends to this point. They found an avenue on which to sue, and maybe if they don't think they can win, maybe they're going to get their 15 minutes of fame, and if they lose, they're going to be hanging their head and in disbelief and dismay and all this. But I basically the case that there was actually two cases that were consolidated, as I understand it, at the Supreme Court, and one was out of Idaho, one was out of West Virginia, and both those states prohibit transgender athletes who identify as women from playing on teams that match their gender identity. And is that discrimination based on sex versus Title IX, the statute, equal protection, the constitutional principle? And, while I'm thinking of it, just to digress for a second, I thought it was awful last year when the publicity was how many females lost out on scholarships to college because males were in the same sport and they won, where otherwise these women would have won or at least qualified for a scholarship for a college education. That is wrong. That is absolutely reprehensible. So, it was interesting because as I heard last night, the arguments were about 3 hours yesterday. That's a long time for arguments before the Supreme Court. And of course, everybody's trying to think, what's Justice Robert going to do based on his question? What's Justice Sonia Mayor going to do based on her questioning? And that's not always an indicator or dispositive of what the ultimate decision will be, but the experts think it's going to be 6-3 that are going to separate the two genders at this point, or the two sexes or whatever, and keep that ban in place as being constitutional, not violative of the equal protection, and outside the definition of Title IX. And Title IX is a very, very wide statute. I mean, it covers not just college athletics, it covers equal opportunity in college. It also protects college students in their social activities. Like you may have a situation where if a student at Bradley gets assaulted, there's going to be a Title IX investigation, there may be a Title IX hearing, there may be a Title IX expulsion. And the schools all have Title IX directors, they have procedures set up, and it really is, I've had a couple of the cases at Bradley, and it's kind of a new thing, and fortunately they've all worked out and the right result. But It's just another, it's a law that has a great purpose, I believe, and it's being expanded a little bit too far or a little bit too much big brother in this situation.
What I worry about, particularly about the liberal judges, that they're seem to be asking questions that are more politically motivated than judicially. I don't know whether you get the same reaction, but Justice Brown, I think it is, some of the things that she said and some of the questions she asked, I thought were, in my opinion, absurd. Not legal or judicial, but personal opinion politically.
I didn't get to listen to the actual dialogue of the arguments and the question and answers sort of situation, but that's not unusual. And Justice Brown, by the scorecard on her, says that she is so far out in left field that even the other more liberal tending justices are like, wait a second, they look like conservatives compared to her, and she's out there. And I think, by reputation, or at least by reports I've read, she does have a hard time separating politics from law, and that's exactly the role. The role she took was, I have to decide and interpret the law. Politics will leave to the majority branches of government. So, no, I agree. And you just never know. And of course, probably the most senior judge on there is, I'm thinking of it right now. He's black.
I know who you mean.
Oh, come on.
Is Clarence Thomas?
Clarence Thomas,
Clarence
yes.
Thomas,
and
yeah.
he rarely asks any questions. Since he's been on the bench, he's asked fewer questions, I think, than any other justice in the history of the Supreme Court. He tends to go conservative, and but again, if he does ask a question, that's not indicative of how he's going to rule on the case. Everybody thinks it's going to be 6-3 in this situation. I'm thinking it might be closer to 7-2 or 8-1. It might be just Justice Jackson out there on a limb and trying to support this. But, do we really need a law to tell us this? I mean,
apparently.
Well, I guess so.
Well,
and
it's sad that.
Yeah, this is what it's come to. And I heard, I heard Gene Sidler talking about earlier about, who was the best man in the paint at Bradley and things like that. I mean, that's why you have the NBA and the WNBA. That's why you have the PGA and the LPGA. Or if you're playing a friendly game of golf at your Park District golf course, that's why you have different sets of tees, because it's just physically, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but, I remember back in the 70s when the NFL was really coming on strong with TV, and Jimmy the Greek made a comment that got himself in a little trouble.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And it said that African American or black athletes have an advantage because they're stronger, they're more compact, they're have a few different attributes. And I don't think he was wrong. I think there's a lot of advantages. They may be quicker. They may have, there's always jokes to follow, and I'm not ever going there. But I don't think he was necessarily wrong. I just don't think TV was ready for his comment.
For that kind of comment.
But that this shows we all have differences that we have no control over. We were born that way, whether it's the X chromosome for the female, the Y for the male, whether it's, your ancestors were very big, large, tall people or very tiny people. That doesn't always work out. I'm the case in point. But, it's just there's certain things that supersede the law, and they should, and they always will until we no longer have a world.
Yeah, and I just wonder what happened to common sense. I don't know if you remember the Olympics where a guy boxed in the women's division, and he knocked the holy crap out of the
I think it was the Italian
female.
And the Italian female, wasn't it?
I'm not sure what she represented, and she was a black woman who was defeated by this guy, and she said afterward that wasn't fair, and somebody must have gotten to her, or some group, and she changed her opinion. You remember that?
I do remember
Say,
that, yes.
Well, that made me think that she suffered from a concussion.
That's right.
As a result
a
of
traumatic brain
Yeah,
injury, or
yeah.
you know. But I mean, you know, you look at like, for example, college wrestling. You don't have intergender college wrestling.
No.
The man would win 99 out of 100 times. You know, I mean, I'm not talking pro wrestling because that's an exhibition, but
Yeah.
you know, these things just, I mean, you know, the sun comes up in the east. All right, you know, can we legislate that? No, we can try, and I wouldn't be surprised what happens.
Well, that might happen now. Be careful.
Oh, it's cloudy.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
So there's that.
you know, you've got things, I mean, that just are the way of the world that, you know, like I said, supersede or transcend law, and you just can't be, you know, you just can't, you're not going to change that, and I think that that's a stretch, and I think you're going to see these states be allowed to ban the cross-sex type athletics and activities that they're trying to do right now in a few conservative states.
Why is it taking the Supreme Court so long to make a ruling? As we jokingly said earlier, voted up, voted down. They said a decision could be made by the end of this month or by June of this summer. What's the story? Why the delay?
The term for the Supreme Court ends June 30th of every year, and it starts the first Monday in October. That doesn't mean July, August, and September, those guys are out screwing around or, you know, or playing pickleball. They're still working, but in terms of a term, that gives them a chance to look at next year, the next term's cases, maybe clean up some things, maybe handle emergency motions. But what happens is, for example, they have their argument yesterday. Okay, the argument meaning both sides or all sides presented their oral arguments because the written arguments, called briefs, have already been submitted. So presumably the justices have read the briefs, the legal arguments, and what all appellate court judges have told me over the years is the oral argument aspect of it is worth about 10%. 90% is in the written briefs. So, you know, and in our appellate court system, a lot of times when I've had an appeal, they'll say, would you like to waive oral argument? We think we're comfortable with the briefs. And usually that's a hint that I do and not take up their time. But sometimes you have to do that. So what happens is they then go into what they call a conference. And the conference is just the 9 justices, not their staff, not their clerks, not anybody else. And they have a free-for-all discussion behind closed doors about every case that's being considered. And then when they decide how the case is going to go, is this a 9-0 case? Is this a 5-4? And then the Chief Justice determines, okay, here's what I'm going to do. We've got a 5-4 case, it looks like, in this situation, and it is going to be more of a liberal decision. So I'm going to offer to have Justice Kagan write this opinion. And on the dissent, I'm going to ask Justice Clarence Thomas to write the dissent. And he routinely assigns them so not everybody's inundated, one person or one justice with all the cases. So then they write the opinion, because the opinion's going to last forever. They begin writing this opinion, they compile it, they then circulate it. That's where it takes time. So this is going to go, let's say, from Justice Kagan, it's going to go to Sotomayor, it's going to go to Jackson, it's going to work its way around the diamond, so to speak, and then they're going to write a dissenting opinion. They're going to say, our friends in the majority say this, we don't think that's correct, we think this is a better approach, et cetera, et cetera. They fine-tune it, and then that takes a while to get the final product that they release. So some cases where it's a 9-0 decision, very easy. Sometimes they even call it a pure per curiam, which means not a single justice is authoring it because it's unanimous. It's just a rule from the court. That's pretty easy. Write it, approve it, get it out. But when you've got bantering back and forth and circulating the opinions for a majority and a minority dissenting opinion, it does take time. And it depends on how nuanced the case is. What are the issues? What are the, what are the turns? What are the twists? And And when they get down to the wire in June, I think some of their staff are working 24/7 to get the opinions out. The other thing on controversial cases, they tend to want to release those at the same time to try to take the attention off the controversy. For example, I could see them releasing this decision, perhaps, and I don't think it should be controversial, but perhaps this decision within an hour of when they release the decision on Trump's tariffs, which will be a controversial decision, no matter what the outcome on that one. Could be a devastating decision.
How about, let's get into the states of Minnesota and Illinois, among others, I guess, about passing or making decisions and filing lawsuits preventing federal agents from operating in their cities and states.
I believe ultimately that this is going to be another issue that's going to make its way up the chain to the Supreme Court. And it's going to take the Supreme Court because, if all of a sudden Minnesota can say, well, ICE, you're out of here. Border and Customs, you're out of here. I don't think they can do that just simply based on the supremacy clause, which says the federal law trumps the state law, so to speak, supersedes, I shouldn't say trumps and confuse us here, but I think that's going to be the way of the world in this situation. And again, I don't understand the mentality because all the way from this lady named Good who obviously perished, and I believe through her own initiative, to tell you the truth, can we look back and say, well, maybe he shouldn't have shot her? Well,
maybe she shouldn't have been there.
Well, maybe she should have respected the command and stop and answer the questions or explain herself, or they said, get out of here. But, again, I've looked at this video, and that pavement was slick, and you don't know where that car's going. This poor kid was hit by a car and dragged, so much like maybe had a little bit of a trigger finger, through that. But again, who hit him and who dragged him, and that's part of the continuum of problems here, I think, that is going on. I don't think that ultimately that their attempt to keep federal agents out are going to be successful. And I just think you have to have a certain amount of law and order, and there's a pecking order, and and I don't know why you wouldn't want the additional help to make your state safe, to make your community safer. In what was I was thinking about the other day that these politicians in Minnesota, I have yet to hear one of them say anybody did something bad by grafting $9 billion that was earmarked for the fraud situation, by was it the Somalis?
Somalis.
Yeah.
Okay. Never heard, including the congresswoman who's from Somalia, never once said anything bad, but it's bad that we're trying to go in there and get rid of the fraud because Minnesota won't. Then they're crying in their beer about, oh, well, they cut us off on HHS funding because they think we're a fraud state. I mean, it's for every action, there's a reaction, folks, and I don't think they're going to be successful at the end of the day.
Yeah. One final question. I want to go back when we first started talking. You mentioned Friday was going to be a bad court day. Is that because you're going to lose that day, or versus a good court day?
Well, it's going to be a heavy volume court day for me.
All right.
I'm hoping I can pull out.
I'm hoping that it's a good day.
Eke out a victory or two for my clients on Friday.
Okay. And I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, a good day is a no-court day.
Yeah. We have on this program good days and we have bad days. So I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, it's a heavy day, put it that way.
All right, as always, Kevin, it's great to talk to you. And the more we talk, the more confused I get about some of the people who render decisions in the Supreme Court and whether or not they're drinking different water than some of the other judges.
Well, I think there's some Kool-Aid being passed.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's not limited to the Supreme Court, believe me.
Hey, speaking of that, you remember, didn't we grow up, and of course I'm older than all of you put together, wasn't that the summer drink for young kids, was Kool-Aid?
Packets with the sugar.
Yeah.
You had to mix it with the sugar.
Yeah.
Right, and it was laced with sugar.
Yeah,
You know,
I loved it.
You know, snow cones. Remember snow cones?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I don't know how kids could sleep at night back
Yeah, we
then.
had a diet of certain
Well, they didn't sleep, and neither did the parents.
Well, the kids. The only way the kids slept is they were more active than they are now,
Yeah.
running around biking and.
You're right. They wore themselves out. Yeah, exactly right.
Yes, it was.
All right, thanks, Kevin. We'll see you next week, if not sooner.
You got it.
News, weather, sports coming up next on Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WACU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube. Good to see everybody. Thanks for being a part of our program. Stay tuned. More coming your way. I just love Wednesday mornings. We learn so much. We have the quiz and some good information and some good questions, some good answers. And, of course, our guests, including Dr. Gene Sidler and the wonderful Peoria attorney, Kevin Sullivan. It is a fun time. And Tyrus, yeah.
I just got a static shock right here.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
what it was?
Yeah.
And also Teri Chamberlain and David Pohls and Steve Shaw joined us this morning as well.
Yeah.
At any rate, let's get into, let's start with the weather. I think that's probably a good idea. And as you know, losing a pet is devastating. The caring people at Peoria Pet Crematory, they know that. They certainly do. And that's why they're available 24/7 to help you through the grieving process, offering several choices for care and remembrance. Peoria Pet Crematory, their phone number 309-713-1898. And we start with the weather and Dave.
Well, as we heard just a little bit ago, it is getting windy out there, so tie everything down on your way into work and school today, too.
Howling.
Yes, howling, as it were. Chance of snow flurries today as the clouds come in, and then it'll gradually clear as the first cold front comes through. Temperatures will be dropping down to around 23 degrees by drive time this afternoon. It is definitely going to feel colder with that wind chill of winds going up to 30 miles an hour. I like the sound effects there, Mr. Rogers. The window, would you shut the window to our
Shut the
studio,
window.
please?
Yeah.
Evidently, it's been done.
Yeah,
perfectly.
It's cold in here.
Yes. Tonight, clear but windy, a low of 14. Ooh, get that fireplace going tonight. Tomorrow, it does rebound a little bit, sunny and 28, and then the clouds come in the afternoon, and a chance of snow tomorrow night, perhaps a dusting up to an inch, low of 23, and then Friday, another cold front comes through, cloudy and windy, high of 37 early, but then that temperature drops into Saturday with a high of 17 after a Friday night low of 14, and then it stays chilly all weekend and into next week. So January is here, it's made a visit, and it brought some suitcases. Currently, we're looking at 33 degrees.
Do you have a fireplace at your place?
We do have a
Yeah.
fireplace. Two of them.
Natural or gas?
We have both. The downstairs one is natural.
Good,
It's not
good.
used.
That's wonderful.
That one's storage. We're not
Wowee.
trying. The upstairs one is gas, and it's very warm and it's nice. So
Yeah. Where I used to live, we had a natural fireplace, and I loved the sound, the snap,
Yeah.
pop, and crack. And I'm not talking about the
Rice
cereal.
Krispies, yeah, I know.
I'm talking about the fire. the
you eat fire
fireplace.
logs for breakfast?
And,
I don't know what that-
yeah.
I don't know what that
yeah,
means.
Oh, well, it was good for fiber. But at any rate, where I live now, I have gas. There's just something almost unprofessional by throwing a switch,
I know,
and
yeah.
instantly you have
the
a
pilot
fire.
light goes out, yeah.
You know, what they should have done, and maybe they do with the higher end fireplaces, is include a soundtrack that had snap, pop, and crackle
Get
to
the
make it
TV,
sound
that's right,
realistic.
yeah.
You can find that
Yeah.
you
somewhere.
can actually
yes.
find those. Yeah, but,
Can really?
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
serious?
yeah,
Okay. Well,
absolutely.
Yeah, it is a setting on the TV.
Yeah, you can actually go to
Yeah.
a thing and it's a,
there is.
yeah, it's a station or something like
Well,
that.
I have to do that. Well, let's get into the news. That's news.
Yes.
Brought to you by your hometown community banks division of Morton Community Banks. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC. Terry Chamberlain has our lead story, boys and girls.
The Supreme Court yesterday heard pro and con arguments of male athletes seeking to compete as females. 2 cases are before the High Court. After about 3 hours of competing opinions from attorneys on both sides of the question, the justices retired. A decision is expected anywhere from late this month to June of this year. Some were speculating the vote will support banning women from male sports, with the 3 liberal judges opposing the ban. We just heard from Kevin Sullivan a little while ago, and he thinks it's going to go 6-3. He's kind of
But he also said he wouldn't be surprised if it was. They initially said 8-2, so he added a judge.
Yes.
But he was voting.
That's why.
Stay tuned to this channel for more information.
For more information, absolutely.
Yes. All right, turning to world news, the chaos continues in Iran, and it's getting deadly for protesters. Some news outlets are reporting that up to 3,000 people have been killed by Iranian police and the military. Thousands more are injured as President Trump exclaims help is on the way. He didn't provide any details on this. Meanwhile, Iran has almost total communication blackout with orders from government officials to police to shoot to kill, and so they are continuing to do so.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if they overthrew the government and Iran became more like Israel and the United States with a democracy, people elected appropriately or removed appropriately? The world, particularly in the Middle East, would be a lot more peaceful, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
A Secret Service agent has been suspended after he allegedly leaked security information regarding the travel and schedule of Vice President J.D. Vance. Officials said the agency will not tolerate anybody engaging in any behavior that could potentially compromise the safety and welfare of people they are protecting.
And a radio announcer at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell has been dismissed after he said J.D. Vance should be shot and killed. Surprisingly, no charges have been filed against the unnamed person, and that's probably because of low ratings.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody listened to him. We hope.
The House of Representatives voted 226 to 197 to reverse regulations implemented under President Biden regarding the type of shower heads consumers are permitted to use in their homes. 17 Democrats bolted from their party to join Republicans who said regulating shower heads was regulatory overreach.
In local news, Peoria firefighters quickly put out a fire at a 2-story home in the 2300 block of West Millman yesterday afternoon. The fire, which started in the kitchen, caused about $10,000 in damage. 2 people got out safely, but 1 was treated for smoke inhalation.
In court action, 32-year-old Chris Crawford has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of selling controlled substances. 20-year-old Cortez Cagle has been indicted by a grand jury for armed robbery. He's accused of robbing a 17-year-old last September in the 1600 block of Great Oak Road, which is near Sterling Avenue and Farmington Road.
We have an update on a story we reported exclusively on Monday this week. Services will be held this Friday at noon at St. Vincent's de Paul Catholic Church for former Peoria Councilman George Jacob. The 61-year-old Jacob died Sunday at his home. He had served as president and owner of Brewers Distributing, representing the Anheuser-Busch Company. And that is the news.
Now more news from WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. The Peoria Fire Department is getting more than $3 million in federal grant funding to increase its staffing levels and improve emergency response. Fire Chief Sean Sahlberger says the department learned in August its application for a SAFER grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency was approved for the award.
Essentially, it's going to give us the ability to hire 11 more firefighters and have 4-person truck companies. So every single day there will be at least 60 firefighters working every day.
Sahlberger says the additional staffing will bring the department's total number of firefighters to more than 180. Town halls, special city council meetings, and political events, and what each requires legally, are the subjects of a town hall policy under consideration by the Pekin City Council. Under the policy, no more than 6 town halls can be held annually. Pekin Economic Development Director Josh Ray tells the council that a goal of the policy is to avoid excess meetings.
There's no rush on this. It's just a thought, because we do want to have more public engagement. We do want to present more information to the public, be more transparent. but we don't want to have a meeting every other week.
The policy presented during this week's council meeting was written after a flurry of town halls and a Q&A session were held late last year. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul is filing a federal lawsuit with the city of Chicago against Border Patrol and ICE for what he calls their dangerous tactics during last fall's deportation campaign.
Agents have arrested hundreds of Illinoisans without warrants, randomly questioned hundreds more, and unleashed chemical weapons upon law-abiding and peaceful residents.
The Attorney General wants federal agents to stay away from sensitive locations like hospitals and drive in vehicles with visible plates. And early numbers show a slight drop in health insurance enrollment in Illinois through the Affordable Care Act this year compared to a record-breaking year in 2025. The state has experienced a 4% decline in enrollment so far, which is not as severe as expected. The slight drop comes after tax subsidies that made ACA insurance more affordable ended on December 31st, and as Congress considers whether there is a path to extend the subsidies. I'm Courtney Conroy, WCBU News.
Time for sports, ladies and gentlemen, and here to bring you the latest our Wednesday morning's go-to sports guy, Tyrus Kileon. Good morning, Tyrus.
Good morning, Roger. Thank you. Let's start with some Bradley basketball. They are 13-6 after winning in overtime versus Evansville, 94-90 on the road. Next game is Saturday at 1 p.m. versus Illinois State University. It is an away game also. Bradley girls basketball are 10-6 after beating Indiana State 79-74. Their next game is Friday versus Drake. It is an away game. Other news, Illinois basketball, they are 13-3 after beating Iowa 75-69. Next game is tonight against Northwestern at 7:30 p.m. College football playoffs, Miami plays Indiana for the national championship Monday, January 19th at 6:30 p.m. Should be a fun one. Or maybe not, but we'll find out. NFL news, the Bears, after completing one of the best playoff comebacks in NFL history, move on to this Sunday at 5:30 p.m. against the Rams. It is the divisional round, and it should be one of the coldest games. NFL playoffs, Bills versus Broncos, first game Saturday at 3:30. Then Saturday night, Seahawks and 49ers at 7 p.m. On Sunday, Texans and Patriots at 2 p.m. And then again, Rams and Bears at 5:30 p.m. Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers have, we'll say mutually parted ways. He spent 19 seasons there and won one Super Bowl. And then they just kind of got a little maybe complacent and just stayed in the middle. You know, that's probably what led to this decision. NHL news. The Blackhawks, who are 19-20-7, play the Flames tomorrow at 7:30, and are now looking to get back on track after losing 2 in a row. St. Louis Blues shut out the Hurricanes last night, 3-0. See if they get going, like they kind of did last year, but we'll find out. NBA news, the Chicago Bulls are 18-21 after losing last night to the Rockets, 113-119, despite Trey Jones having a career high in points, 34, on a very efficient 11 for 12. They play tonight at home versus the Utah Jazz at 7 p.m. MLB news, the Cardinals traded Nolan Arenado and $31 million to the Arizona Diamondbacks for right-handed pitching prospect Jack Martinez, who was an 8th-round pick last year. And that's our sports report. Back to you guys.
Good job, as always, sports guy who knows the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyrus, thank you so much. As we continue on Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU. You know, when we talk about what the Supreme Court is doing, or yesterday listening to pro and con arguments, and so insightful the information that Kevin gives us, that the 3 hours of testimony was unusual. I was going to ask him, and then I forgot whether or not he ever appeared before the Supreme Court. I know he has mentioned about the Illinois Supreme Court, but the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. That has to be almost a frightening experience for an attorney, unless you're an old and grizzled guy who's been around to all things. But here's my question for our distinguished panel, and that is particularly for Dave. Do you know of any local incidents involving a guy who wanted to play locally at, and of course it applies also to Tyrus because he's younger than all of us, of any cases where there was a guy who said he wants to identify as a female and go in and use female restrooms and so forth in Peoria School District or Morton or Princeville for that matter? Have
Not
any
in
of
my
you?
experience,
I
no.
haven't either.
No.
Have you,
No.
Terry?
No.
Oh, wait a minute. We might have an anecdotal story from
I mean,
Tyrus
I
at,
had-
at your school.
Yeah, there was a.
When did you try to get into the girls' restroom?
Never.
Oh, okay, just checking now.
But
When-
I would say there was a girl that changed to a guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, she didn't try to, or whatever. I mean, she didn't try to get into,
The
any other
boys'
stuff.
room,
No,
yeah.
so.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, we've had several. You're right. In the
Yeah.
schools. I have seen
In
the
Peoria
transition.
County?
Yeah, in the city and county, several instances of identity and transition, but not to the extent of wanting to use restrooms or
No,
opposing
or
teams
try to do sports.
Yeah. It's been pretty quiet.
none of that. But
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about the rest of you, including those who listen to the program. I just don't understand the thinking of a guy who feels it's okay, and Kevin talked about the case, and I remember that quite well, where a guy spiked a ball, and I believe it was in college competition, and did severe damage to a woman. How anybody,
happened.
including the ACLU, what are the rights? They're famous for protecting the rights of minorities and others. Why don't they protect the rights of this young woman who was severely injured by a guy who shouldn't have been there? I mean, and what happened to the leaders of the ERA? Why aren't they weighing in heavily to protect women's sports? There's so many consistently inconsistent people and organizations that it's hard to understand.
These issues
Frankly
become
speaking,
politicized so much
and
now.
that's
Yeah.
part of it
Yeah,
as well.
that's
Why
not
is it the three
necessarily-
dissenting judges are Democrats? Why do they identify in this issue as Democrats as well as Republicans identifying as? I don't. This shouldn't be a Republican-Democrat issue. This is supposed to be a common sense issue.
Well, as Kevin alluded to earlier, too, it does come down to the Supreme Court dealing with issues of law, dealing with issues of precedent, not necessarily political affiliations and things like that. So, yeah.
Now you're in and out, and you probably don't want to answer this question, of a lot of schools because you work for the regional office of education. Do you hear when you go into different schools political talk, political influences, or do they stick to the issue, and that is compliance with education and educational laws?
We've not seen much political. I mean, luckily in our county, it seems to be what's right for kids, the law, following regulations and pieces like that. But as far as some of the stories you see around the country and around the world about people protesting and I'm going to storm the restroom or that sort of thing, we've not seen any of that.
No, I'm encouraged by that. I've always felt that we're not only the breadbasket in the center of the country, we're the center politically for the most part, although, let's face it, Illinois has voted in recent years historically a Democrat, and certainly I understand the political persuasion. We are a divided country right now.
We are very polarized. That is the one issue I think you see more than anything now. Everybody, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, says that we are so far on the margins. I look back on the Republican Party that I remember, Ronald Reagan and Bob Michael, and the reasoning together, Everett Dirksen for that matter. Think about that in this area. You know, they made some great strides in our country when they reached to others. We had more of a common sense of identity, locally, nationally, and, you know, across the world. And sadly, I think in that case, we've lost that. We're screaming at each other. And as you've said many times in this program before, that's got to stop.
I have a question for you. What office in Peoria County do you think should not be a political office?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, boy. A lot of the ones that serve our public, I don't think they should be. I mean, you know.
I don't believe the coroner should be a Republican or a Democrat.
Right, that's true.
I think the coroner, frankly speaking, the best of the best would be a physician. Jamie Harwood is a nurse, a registered nurse. I don't know whether he's gone on to become, get a master's degree and become a nurse practitioner, but he is the first, in my opinion, person to become coroner who has at least a minimal amount of credentials in the medical field.
I've dealt with it. He's very compassionate. And
He's
he does
doing
have
an excellent job.
Yeah,
No
he has
question
a medical background, which you're right. I think that should be whether, you know.
And I think it should be appointed, frankly speaking,
Oh, that's a good
rather than run every 4 years
Sure.
to spend money to because he's a Democrat or she's a Republican.
Yeah.
But we've come a long way because who basically years ago was a coroner in many communities, particularly small communities, but the guy ran the funeral home.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I think at one time in Tazewell County, I think Charles Hanley is the coroner, and I think there's a Hanley
There is a
funeral
Hanley
home, is there not?
Yep.
And it was not unusual for
No.
the funeral home director to go out and remove or retrieve a body as not only the coroner, but the local funeral director for that matter.
Well, you got to keep in mind the coroner and the medical examiner are two different
Right.
positions, because I'll never forget, I was dating this guy in Wisconsin, and he happened one day, he said, oh yeah, he goes, when Dad was coroner, and I said, what? And his dad, who was in broadcasting, served a term as coroner.
Is that
Now,
right?
does that not
Interesting.
blow your mind? Here's a person, no
Yeah.
medical experience whatsoever.
I have an announcement to make. He's dead.
Yeah.
And now here's Johnny Mathis and When Sonny Gets Blue.
What was that show in the 70s? Quincy Medical.
Quincy, but Jack
I
Klugman.
love Jack Klugman. Quincy Medical Examiner.
Right.
He was always, he'd come in there. He was the examiner.
What show was
Quincy.
that?
Remember Quincy?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What was his name?
Jack Klugman.
Jack Klugman,
He'd
yeah.
Far Cry from the Odd Couple, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a different- He did have a great Ford LTD station wagon before they had
He
vans. I
did.
remember
Yep.
that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
At any rate, maybe someday, we eliminated the office of auditor in Peoria County. And prior to that, we eliminated the office of recorder of deeds. I believe both of those positions were absorbed, you might say, by the county clerk.
Yeah.
I believe that was the transition.
We have one of those in my
things,
house,
but-
the recorder of deeds. Excuse me, you did
Yeah.
not do that.
Yeah.
You did not
Yeah.
do this.
I didn't
you need
do
to
that.
do this.
That's right.
I'm
Okay.
recording the deeds you've done
you
and
got
haven't.
it.
But that's not what you
that's
need,
really
right?
good.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back after this message. Don't go away.
Every 2 seconds, somebody in America needs blood. You can help by donating blood at your local American Red Cross. Donating blood is easy. It only takes about an hour, and a single donation can help save more than one life. This is Alex O'Loughlin asking you to donate blood to help somebody in need. A friend, a neighbor, or somebody you haven't even met. Call your American Red Cross at 1-800-GIVE-LIFE or visit them at givelife.org. The need is constant. The gratification is instant. Give blood.
Think about everything that you save. You save gas, you save money, you save time. But have you ever thought about saving life? That's right, life. In just 1 hour, you could save up to 3 lives, giving 3 people more time with the ones they love. And isn't that the best thing to save? The need for blood is as universal as it is constant. Save life, give blood.
You know, Dave Pohls, by the way, what temperature do you have?
Right now,
I've got, what do you have? I've got
33 degrees.
33?
And the wind, oh my goodness, it's going to be increasing too, and it seems to be.
85 miles an hour.
Gale force winds, correct? No, I don't know about that.
Our crawler is showing 32.8, so I guess it would be 33, closer to 33
That's like
than
buying
32.
something that's $9.99, right?
Yeah, you bet. Hey, you had mentioned earlier in a program this morning, Dave, about the city council taking action about exposition gardens.
Yep.
Is it now null and void, and the expo board has been discharged, dismissed, disintegrated? What's
Well-
going on with? I know the city bought land, and residents are still leery of what range of income those houses are going to be.
Well, just to catch up to speed, in September, of course, was the decision to purchase it. And then the next round was in December, where the city forgave the existing debt, which in effect, disbanded the Expo Garden Board. And I think they forgave $400,000 debt owed. So that's the next stage. Has been last evening, where the city council agreed unanimously to auction off or sell the surplus equipment, and that being, kitchen equipment, some outbuildings, animal pens. I don't know who needs an animal pen, but
Well, farmer,
we know where to go.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
do.
exactly
So,
right.
and to answer your question directly, then that is the next stage where they do want to, and I think these things are long term, as I've mentioned. The idea is to develop that land into, as they say, moderate level income, which would be, probably similar to what you see in Rolling Acres across the street, that sort of affordable housing, because that is the last big parcel for Peoria City, particularly Peoria School District.
Sure.
200 homes, as I think was the number that they saw would be feasible. Now, that begs the question, finding a developer with the cost of new construction being what it is to undertake that, would that be low income? Would it be middle income? That's the question.
Yeah.
These things have a way of developing, as you know.
Pardon the expression.
Yes.
Development,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
just going to say, and that was going to lead it. You were reading
Yeah.
my mind.
I was
Roger.
reading your mind, exactly.
So-
When was the last subdivision constructed in Peoria?
There was one down by the Civic Center, Spring Hills subdivision, I think was the name of it. There was a couple different roads just south of the Civic Center, and there's some newer homes in there too.
Was it River? I thought it was called River something. And they built
Right,
those
right.
nice
Well, that's the
homes?
replacement. River West was the replacement for the old Warner homes. But
Correct.
this is an
Okay.
actual single-family homes, just a little bit north of there.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say it's Spring Hill subdivision, Spring something subdivision.
Yeah.
And-
Well, Taft Homes has been replaced,
Yes, yeah.
but that is
Provincial
still
Point or-
still public housing. But
Promontory.
I'm thinking of like Rolling Acres
Oh,
or Wardcliff
So
or
large-scale development, is
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah, residential.
Yeah, it's been a while. Lyndhurst, maybe?
yeah.
I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good.
Lyndhurst, I know was, so when I started my career at Mark Bill's back in '88, I remember driving down Frostwood Parkway, and a lot of those homes were being built, and that was 88,
In Lyndhurst.
89. Yeah, so that was just
That
finishing.
might have been the last.
And I know a lot of those homes were built in the late 70s,
Sure.
early 80s.
Well, what about you go out Knoxville?
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's a
yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm
out
talking
Knoxville.
city. You're right,
Yeah, you-
absolutely.
Well, you're right.
'Cause that's still
yeah,
kind of
that's a good point.
Peoria,
You're absolutely
Dunlap,
right.
yeah.
I think there's some
yeah,
newer
by St.
subdivisions
Jude
there.
and
Yeah,
Rossville Road, north
exactly.
of there.
Yep.
That's where the building's going. And I'm sorry, I was thinking in terms of Peoria School District location. But yeah, you're right.
Well, no
absolutely
penalty.
right.
No, you were not offside, so they didn't throw the flag. What they did say, it's time for news. And our news this morning brought to you by your hometown community banks, Division of Morton Community Bank, and look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC. Terry has our headlines.
Well, the Supreme Court has heard pro and con arguments of male athletes seeking to compete as females. 2 cases are before the High Court. After about 3 hours of competing opinions from attorneys on both sides of the question, the justices retired. A decision expected anywhere from late this month to June. Some legal experts believe the vote will support banning women from male sports, with the 3 liberal judges opposing the ban. In world news, the chaos continues in Iran and is getting deadly for protesters. Some news outlets are reporting that up to 3,000 people have been killed. Thousands more injured as President Trump claims help is on the way. He did not provide details. Meanwhile, Iran has an almost total communication blackout. A Secret Service agent has been suspended after he allegedly leaked security information regarding the travel and schedule of Vice President J.D. Vance. Officials said the agency will not tolerate any member engaging in behavior that could potentially compromise the safety and welfare of people they're protecting. A radio announcer at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell has been dismissed after he said J.D. Vance should be shot and killed. No charges have been filed against the unnamed person, could be due to low ratings. The House of Representatives voted 226 to 197 to reverse regulations implemented under President Biden regarding the type of shower heads consumers are permitted to use in their homes. 17 Democrats bolted from their party to join Republicans who said regulating shower heads was regulatory overreach. In local news, Prairie firefighters quickly put out a fire at a 2-story home in the 2300 block of West Millman yesterday afternoon. The fire, which started in the kitchen, caused about $10,000 damage. 2 people got out safely, but one was treated for smoke inhalation. In court action, 32-year-old Chris Crawford has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of selling controlled substances. 20-year-old Cortez Cagle has been indicted by a grand jury for armed robbery. He's accused of robbing a 17-year-old last September in the 1600 block of Great Oak Road, which is near Sterling Avenue and Farmington Road. We have an update on a story we reported exclusively on Monday of this week. Services will be held this Friday at noon at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church for former Peoria Councilman George Jacob. The 61-year-old Jacob died Sunday at his home. He had served as president and owner of Brewers Distributing, representing the Anheuser-Busch Company. And those are the headlines, Roger.
Thank you. When you have a plumbing problem, I have a suggestion. Don't call Angie. Check out McQuett Plumbing. Robert McQuett, reliable, responsive, and he knows plumbing. No need to call a national number just to get a recommendation. We recommend McQuett Plumbing. He's available at 309-241-0771. Now the weather.
Well, we look out today. Some winds are kicking up today, so tie everything down as you go out there to work and school. That sunny will end up becoming cloudy today, so snow flurries perhaps this afternoon as the cold front comes through. Then gradual clearing and colder as temperatures drop to around 23 degrees by late this afternoon. And of course, it's going to feel colder out there with that wind chill kicking up, those blustery winds up to about 34 miles an hour. Tonight, it's going to clear off. The wind will continue in a low of 14, so those wind chills will definitely be a factor tomorrow morning on your way to work and school. And it will rebound up to a sunny day in 28, but then the clouds come in tomorrow afternoon and perhaps a dusting, perhaps up to an inch of snow, a low of 23. Friday will start out warmer, cloudy, but windy again, a high of 37, and then the second cold front comes through that chills us out for the whole weekend and into next week, with a high of only 17 on Saturday, 14 for a low Friday night, and the wind chills will be a factor this weekend. Currently, we're looking at 31 degrees right now as that temperature is going down.
Dropping. It's going the wrong direction.
I opened the window here and saw that that's happening.
Look close up.
You got it. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, you got it. All right, here's our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. Dogs that are left to languish on a chain in all weather conditions all day and night, day after day, are being treated cruelly. They are often abused, neglected, and forgotten. This kind of treatment inflicts both physiological and psychological damage on these isolated dogs. Such treatment always leads to unsocialized animals that can become territorial and violent. Tragically, children can become the victims of these dogs. From October 2003 through November 2010, 328 children were killed or seriously injured by chained dogs across our country. This is a direct result of the owner's mishandling, lack of care for another creature, and it is not the dog's fault. People are the problem. Very often, chained dogs are being kept for dog fighting, which is now illegal. If you see or know of a dog in your area that is being continuously chained or tied up, please notify your local animal control. Or if you feel safe and comfortable in approaching the home, try to educate them on how cruel a practice this is. Ask if you can help in some way. Maybe you could walk the dog after work or school for the owner, or suggest a local doggy daycare. Any help you can seek on behalf of the dog would be the right thing to do. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Hey, you know, we were talking about Exposition Gardens, and we were talking about Expo. You have to talk about, or you should talk about, the once great Heart of Illinois Fair. I mean, when we had, in its heyday, the Heart of Illinois Fair, thousands of people packed the place, particularly for the free grandstand shows. And when you talk about some of the great artists that came and went to the Heart of Illinois Fair, nobody knows who they are and knows what kind of audience they drew than Exposition Gardens board member and Heart of Illinois Fair czar, you might say, Phil Salzer. And Phil's on the line this morning. Good morning, Phil.
Hello, Roger. How you guys all doing? I hate to hear this wind and so forth. I got to make a little trip today, and I certainly hope it doesn't get too windy to blow the car around and so forth.
Just wear a helmet, and that'll be.
Roger, I'm having a little hard time hearing you.
Oh, I don't know why. I will talk louder in the hopes that you can hear me. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is nobody knows more about some of the stars who came to the Heart of Illinois Fair. Who was your favorite, or who drew the biggest crowd? Was it Bob Hope?
Nope. It was a guy who dedicated the Civic Center. And they said he took something like about $300,000 out of here. I'm trying.
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers drew the biggest crowd. He lined them with people used to line up to get in. And one time they used to have 3 shows. I never was involved in the 3 shows. They did 2 shows. When I went on the board, they had cut it back. In fact, our talent agent, she told Eileen Fry, who was always the fair manager when I was on the board, and she said, who was the guy that played on Hee Haw?
Roy
Clark.
Roy Clark, who was ranked world class in about 2 or 3 different instruments that he played, and Roy came off and he had done 3 shows. Now you can imagine 2:30 in the afternoon, and then 6:30 at night and 9 o'clock at night. But he came off that afternoon when it was just blistering shot, even though they had a little bit of cover from the sun. But he said, Norma, don't you ever schedule me for 3 shows again. And so that kind of started the ball rolling, and they thought they could get a lot better, although, you know, we always thought we had pretty good entertainment. Somebody's coming here soon, 38 Special. They were here when I was on the board, and we had a lot of people go through here who also went elsewhere and became well known. Barbara Mandel, all of you heard of Barbara Mandel. Well, she was here one year, and I know you don't talk about prices and so forth, but she came for like $12,000 the first year, mainly because here's what you can luck out on, is if an entertainer is scheduled somewhere else in your state, and it's a travel day for them, and if they can stop somewhere and pick up, you know, a little extra change, then sometimes they'll do that. The next year, I think that she was about 30-some thousand, and then the third year, which she didn't come, her sister eventually came, but she had made the TV scene and Vegas and those places, and we couldn't begin to touch her for 100,000. But my first connection, of course, really with the fair is when we built it, because I went out there with 2 older brothers and rode the tractor with my dad, which OSHA would not allow anybody to do today. But anyway, I'm trying to think of the guy. He was a regular singer, then he kind of went country. Johnny, I want to say Tillotson. Would there be a Johnny Tillotson?
Johnny Tillotson, yes, you're right.
Okay. He was the yo-yo guy. He collected yo-yos, and so not always did I drive everybody that came out. We tried to split it up when we could. Towards the end, a lot of my friends were driving. You remember Bill Hasselbacher,
sure, you bet.
And Kenny Meissner.
Who was your favorite that you picked up? You mentioned George Lindsay. Yeah, wasn't George a pretty nice guy who appeared?
George Lindsay was a super guy. I'll tell you what, he took another teacher and me to Van Ackers to eat. The night he performed, he said, "I'm taking you guys out to eat," and I just told some of my family the other day. My only brother that's living, he had his 90th birthday party, so he's chasing you, Roger. Although our oldest brother was right in the same boat as you happen to be, since you skipped the 2nd grade, he skipped the 2nd grade at Greeley, you skipped to that Longfellow, you said, and you both worked at Hunts Drive-In, so you had a lot in common.
In common, sure did, yeah. I went on to mediocrity. I don't know about him, but I didn't go anywhere.
He went to Bradley his freshman year.
Oh, he did, okay.
And was number 1 in his class, and also was the number 1 in engineering. And he switched out of engineering,
wow.
and went into education. And he became a professor out in the East. And
what was his first name?
Richard Dick.
That was Dick Salzer. You remember, I'm going to interrupt you a little bit. You remember a guy by the name of Dick Salzer, was it, that played for Bradley? He was a center.
No, that wasn't Salzer. Dick Gelser. Dick Gelser.
Okay. Sorry, it wasn't worth interrupting then.
Coach Salzer, I remember one of my favorite shows at the the year I graduated from Peoria High in '82, that summer was Huey Lewis and the News. They had a great show. They had like several shows, and they were just phenomenal. And they were at the height of their popularity then.
When a lot of the rock groups, there would be kids come out there and they would line up at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
They would
We stood in line
for a 6:30 show.
That was the same summer the Civic Center opened, I think, '82.
And you know what? The kids that lined up, they were always good. They really were. The kids were good. They'd say, hey, you know, be sure and let this area in first.
Yeah.
I said, we try to open them all at the same time. Don Teri really was in charge of our grandstand. Karen Vietz, her husband, of course, headed up the Sokol. He was president of Sokol, and she was on board, and she loved the fair and so forth. And we put her in charge of helping to sell the souvenirs. You know, like they'd come in, they want to sell T-shirts and so forth. And so Johnny Tillotson was the one that really started for us, because he said to me, he says, I drove him for 3 days, and like I said, he was a yo-yo champion. He was always looking for a place for yo-yos, so I took him to a private home who had advertised it, and he also went over to I think it was the Sunnyland Robine area. We took him over there, up the Pleasant Hill, if you remember the Pleasant Hill one, over there between East Peoria and Morton, and Murray's downtown. They had yo-yos, and he would tell me a little bit of the history of the yo-yos and so forth. But Goober was a lot of fun too, because Goober, I picked him up and I said, how are you doing? Well, he says, it's kind of boring to sit in a motel room. We usually got them to house themselves over here at Jim's
Steakhouse
by Vernacular Junction.
Yeah.
And he would, he said, my daughter and I, he brought his daughter with him. One entertainer will bring their daughters. And that's another thing. You can't get some entertainers in the summertime, because they said summertime is our family time. And the kids are off and so forth. And so Goober said, I'd sure like to be doing some things. I said, well, what do you want to do? He said, I'd like to play golf, and my daughter, she really, you know, would like to get active and do some things as well. So I called Elmer Schafferberger, and Elmer Schafferberger, Elmer is still alive. He's got 3 daughters, and they've moved down to Arizona now. But I said, Elmer, and I'd had a couple of Elmer's daughters in the school. They were like about, I think all of them were still in high school. And so they took her, and they ended up going swimming and so forth. And then later on, in the when the carnival got rolling and so forth, they got some ride tickets, because board members would get ride tickets and so forth. And they took her on a lot of the rides. Oh, he loved the way she was entertained, and we had people who belonged to the Mount Holly Country Club on our board, and they took Goober out
over to Mount Holly. Yeah.
And I know one of the questions somebody asked him was, what's Junior doing? You know, that hee-haw or whatever it was. And he says, home counting his money. And we usually had pretty good times. I won't tell you the worst one we ever had.
Oh, go ahead. You know, nobody's listening.
What?
Nobody's listening. Go ahead. You can tell us. We won't be. You know, interesting, Phil, now in the year 2026, you tell me, as a board member, you got free passes. Why didn't you tell me that when you were younger and a neighbor? Literally a neighbor. You didn't tell me you had free passes.
Well, I didn't have enough to go around to everybody.
Well, I can see where I am on your list.
I had too many Democrat friends.
I knew that was coming. I opened Pandora's box, and that's what you get, Roger.
But I was not on the board when Bob Hope. I thought Bob Hope would have, packed them in, but he didn't, because I think a lot of people like me say, God Almighty, Bob Hope. I've seen him before. I think I've seen him a couple times. One time I saw him down at Champaign. He entertained, and that was the period of time he was going through some struggle, and he was he came out and he went around in a wheelchair at the University of Illinois Assembly Hall.
I know that.
Not all the time. He did it for a while, but then. And Frankie Avalon, when I pick Frankie Avalon up, I always think about the fact that he walked out of that elevator and he came walking towards me, and I had a shirt on. Every board member had a fair shirt, and it identified as, Heart of Illinois Fair. And I says, he shakes hands he reaches out and he says, "Hi, I'm Frankie Avalon." I thought, I know you, Harvey. You sure don't know who I am. But I greeted him, and he said, "You got a wonderful place here." He says, "I was out running this morning." He said, "I ran for about 25 minutes. Right down this, he ran down, I guess it would be the tail end of Prospect, right down where the Grandview Drive starts, and it bends off from the Peoria Heights. And he said, I ran down and back here in about 25 minutes. So I had a towel wrapped around me and running suit and so forth. He said, I just love this place. And so I thought, how many people probably passed him in the traffic that morning, and this guy is running, and they don't think, that's Frankie Avalon. But it was.
Did he sing Venus?
He was wonderful. In fact, I had to shove him in the car to get him away from the crowd. These entertainers, there's certain things that they try to offend nobody, most of them. And a lot of them are exactly, common ordinary people, so forth. Money-wise, they're not, but anyway, Tiny Tim came one year, and he spoke exactly like he did, like on the Johnny Carson show and so forth. I know we always would feed him, and so he's backstage with us, and he's eating, and actually he wasn't eating. He had got his plate ready and so forth, and he's walking, he's going to go up the steps into the trailer to sit down, and he dropped his plate. Oh, Mr. Phil. That's what he would, oh, Mr. Phil. He says, I made a mess. I said, that's all right. I says, we'll get somebody to clean it up for you, and so forth. But you asked me who my favorite entertainer was. Well, gee, that's really tough to say because, we had groups, Oak Ridge Boys, we had them twice while I was on the board, and Willie Nelson, we had him as an individual, and we had great entertainment out there. We really did, and the people, of course, in the late part of the century, we knew money was getting tight and so forth, so we asked them to pay like $5 to get into some of the shows. Oh no, it's always been free. Oh, you give people in Peoria something that's always free, and then you try to charge them for it. You're not going to get that job done.
Yeah. What led to the final demise of the free grandstand show? The entertainers got too expensive? Was that basically it?
It just got... I know one year we lost $175,000 on entertainment.
Oh wow! Yeah, you can only do that just so long.
You can't keep a fair going when something like that's going on.
No, you're exactly right. Well, it's wonderful going down the halls of history. The Heart of Illinois Fair, unfortunately, no more. And it was one of the crowning entertainment venues in Peoria and Central Illinois for many, many years.
Yeah, it certainly was, Roger.
All right. Thanks, Phil, for helping us remember the great days of the fair. Starting, what year did it start? Do you remember?
I think it started in 50.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. And I don't think
Roger, we must have a terrible connection. It's really hard to hear you.
Oh, well, I don't know what I can do for you, but I will speak louder into the microphone.
But you know what? It's great on my radio, but I'm sure it certainly have.
You know what? Why don't we both go to bell tone? I think we both need to get a hearing aid. I've heard that from my own family. Anyway, thanks, Phil.
Everybody's good on your radio, but I want to say David was one of my former students, as well as a runner for us at Peoria High School, and he has really taken up education and made it better for the kids.
Well, you're very kind. You're very
compliment. Kind. Well, he's not alone. Phil Salzer, who was in education for how many years?
Well, Roger, I really was probably in education about 35 years, but I stayed on after I retired and helped take care of injuries in football and so forth.
Well, we've been listening to Dr. Phil Salzer, who is a trainer.
No, I'm not doctor.
Okay.
Not doctor.
All right. Thanks, Phil. God bless you.
All right.
All right. Phil Salzer, longtime member of the Expo Guard and Heart of Illinois Fair, and well known for being the teacher of our weather news guy this morning, Dave Pohls. You remember, what course did you take with
So
Phil?
yes, he was. I had a great fortune, shall we say, of being a student of Phil's, track and cross country and what have you. And then also he was still teaching when I came back to teach there. So I was a coworker.
No kidding.
Yeah. He retired.
Now, that's unusual.
Yeah, he retired around 94, 95, maybe somewhere in there, and I came there in 92. So I was able to teach in the same department that he was a student. So I either got far or not very far, one of the two. I'm not sure what that is, but he is
great guy, and he's done so much. One of the leading voices.
We underestimate the impact Phil's had on our community.
County board as well. Let's take a look at the final check of weather with Dave Pohls.
Well, as we look out the window, it's sunny but clouding up today. That wind is really kicking up out there from what we understand. Does our window open anymore, or did it close? I'm not sure.
Well,
there we go.
I don't know, but at any rate, we can check it out.
Absolutely. So it'll be gradually getting cloudier and colder as the temperatures drop to around 23 degrees, and that's being optimistic by 5 o'clock this afternoon. Certainly feeling colder thanks to those strong and blustery winds, looking almost up to 34 to 35 miles an hour. So as we get into the evening, it'll clear off, stars will come out, but it'll be windy. Low of 14 degrees, and then tomorrow rebounding to sunny and 28, although clouding up in the afternoon and looking at a dusting of snow possible tomorrow night, a low of 23. Friday, cloudy and windy again as that cold front comes back again, and it'll stay for a while because this weekend's going to be a chilly weekend. High of 37 on Friday. But Saturday, only a high of 17 after getting down to 14, and then the wind chills will be definitely a factor this weekend. And our temperature is now even declining into 31 degrees. So
I'm glad we
had this stay warm out there, everybody.
I'm glad we did, too. Well, he mentioned one of the great singers at the Heart of Illinois Fair, Kenny Rogers. So why not close with Kenny Rogers singing, "Listen to the Snow." I mean, the rain, the rain. Have a great day, everybody. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. Kenny Rogers.
There's something in the rhythm.
You're on the air.
Something so inviting in the music that it makes. As it whispers on the window, like a voice inside my heart, I hear it begging me to stay. How can we deny that it's anything but right? Just listen to rain. Listen to your heart. Tell me what you need. I can feel it beating as it thunders in the dark. As the storm outside grows stronger, I can't take it any longer. Let me hold you in my arms and let the passion rage. There's no need to be afraid. Just listen, listen to the rain. Flashes of desire fill the sky as I watch the light